link. So, all right, No Name Podcast is back again. Episode something. No.
We out there over a year. Don't do that.
They might be 60. I think it might be episode 60. I think we're on 60 today.
Yeah, we're on 60.
What is it? The braids? All right.
Yeah, we've been here for a minute, man. So
That's how we move it. All right, we're
appreciate you guys for waiting. We're always a little bit late with the pod, so we apologize on that one. But we are back again. Today we have a special episode dedicated to one man in particular. We are going to be discussing the Triple H category of him being top 10 in WWE all time. That's been a big topic on the pod that we've been debating back and forth and discussing among some people on the show. So we figured we'd make a whole episode about it. Today we're going to talk about whether or not Triple H is top 10 all time, and then you guys can kind of vote and decide which team you think won. Top team is for Triple H being top 10. Bottom team is a no, him not being in the top 10. So make sure you guys listen, because a lot of y'all don't be listening sometimes. Make sure y'all be listening to what people have to say. Even if you don't agree, just listen to what everybody has to say. And then we want you guys to vote on who you guys think got the better debate topic. And then we'll also talk about some stuff afterwards about Mania. Some things going on in WWE right now. So I'm gonna let Nate take over because this is one of the episodes that to win. So I'm gonna let you take over and talk.
Who the fuck got a wrestling show in the bag?
I think it might be Mo's job.
Mo, mute your dumb ass.
It's not me.
Oh, you can hear him? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I can't believe. Normally my mic doesn't pick it up yet. Brandon's doing my rise video in the background. So unless I'm talking, I'll make sure. Yeah, we're good.
I don't know who that was. I thought that maybe it was his job, but yeah, that's all good. It's all good. No worries.
Okay.
Oh, let you.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, yeah.
My bad. I didn't-
Small Afro and Ryan, I'm gonna let you plug in your stuff. So Small Afro, plug in your stuff to everybody where they can follow you on your socials. Then Ryan, you can go after him, and then Nate will go after.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, Small Afro really on everything. There's different variations of it for Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. But you can find me Small Afro on YouTube and obviously Vibe. We're doing a lot of cool things on the Vibe Guys channel. Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens this year with the new game coming out and everything. So, I appreciate you guys letting me on here for sure.
No problem. Thanks for coming through.
Cool. And I'm Ryan from the North-South Connection, just a podcast network. A lot of nostalgia based. So it's very interesting that I'm here to be able to kind of spread that across here for this debate. And I'm ready to play the game.
Oh, wow.
All right.
You ready to play a game? All right. Well, I guess we're going to dive into it, man. I've been trying to tell y'all for months. Triple H is not top 10. And I got two shooters right here with me. And I'm gonna let my number one shooter. He long range and up close. He'll get you anywhere. Ryan, tell us why Triple H is not top 10.
All right, off the bat, I think he's top 20. I think he's top 15. I just don't think he's up at that top tier of a top 10 within the WWE. There's plenty of things that we could look at to get there. Longevity is probably his greatest attribute, and he's probably top 5 for that. But then when you start weighing quality of longevity, then it's just like, all right, there's some years and there's some things that really aren't the best. Charisma, he's very good with his charisma. He's great at some points. Others are just blow him out. Star power, he's a star. He's a legit guy, but he's not on that top 5 tier, maybe even top 10 tier of all-time star power guys in the company, right? Fourth, flexibility. He's a little bit of a detriment to himself flexibility-wise. He's kind of in that same lane once he gets in that lane, right? He is the cerebral assassin. He is the king of kings. He is that. And he kind of just stays stuck there and kind of whenever he struggles in that bubble when others kind of don't live up to and fill in the quirks or whatever. So I think that's a big detriment to him is flexibility as well. He doesn't, when he adapts to others, he shows that he can be an all-time great, but I don't think that he overall is flexible. The next being storylines. He has all-time storylines for sure. He's definitely top 10 within storylines within the company, but that's kind of due to the longevity as well. I feel that, but again, Katie Vick's an all-time worst storyline as well. There's also a lot of BS as well. 2003 is not going to be kind to Triple H. I think he realizes that post-injury that he struggled in 2002, 2003, and he kind of isolates himself for the rest of his career with a stable of Evolution and so on and so forth. Like he had a stable of DX to kind of get himself going as well. So I feel that he does well when he's isolated, but when he's alone within a story, he kind of struggles. I think we can dive into that. But overall, he has a lot of stories and jump up moments as well. All-time jump up moments, of course. I'm sure those will be sprinkled in. No need to go over that as well. Promos, again, 2002, 2003 Raw, opening those up. The long-winded promos. But then again, the sit down with JR, at the start of 2099, fantastic stuff. So overall, I think he's a very, very good promo. I just don't think he's on the level of the Pipers, the Rocks, the Punks, guys like that. I don't think he's any. I think he's like 2 tiers below that. But it's not a negative towards Triple H at all. Character work. We had Hunter Hearst Helmsley coming in, the aristocrat, but kind of struggled breaking through until he found China, and that led to DX. Once he got around Shawn and was able to do his thing, he really thrived in DX. And I think he was smart to isolate himself with the Outlaws and X-Pac once Shawn went away and he became the leader, bringing some guys to isolate him to keep that cool factor. But early on, a lot of his connectiveness, I think, had to do with China, but he played into it well, and so on and so forth. And then we can play 2000 is his trophy year. That's his flower year. Honestly, you could arguably say that's the best year in company history from a lot of aspects, and he is the golden child of that, so you cannot take that away from him. But that injury in 2001 really I think we saw a fallout from that. But his peaks are high with his character, but he does a good job of staying relevant. But I just feel that this is probably his strongest attribute in a way as well, with the longevity, is his character work, but also there's some negative quirks that come with it later on as well, like with the bad promos that we would get in the Ruthless Aggressive era, and so on and so forth. And then like legacy Triple H post DX of 2006 and all that stuff is just fine, but he's kind of checked out. He's looking past that stuff, and he does have high moments. But then really when he checks back in at the late 2010s for the 28, the 29, or excuse me, the 27, the 28 WrestleMania, stuff like that, is really more like where he kind of shines as well. So character work, I would say, is very, very strong, but it also can be a negative to a certain part of the fan base as well, for sure. All right, work rate in match resume. I differ. I want to differ those two things, because I think that his match resume is impressive, but so is everyone in the top 20, to be frank, right? But I feel that as we get into it and the fine line of why he is top 20, 15, not top 10, top 5, because I think his best matches are non-Triple H matches. And we'll kind of get into that as we go. I think his best matches are, for example, those 3 WrestleManias at the end, 27, 28, and 30. Like, he's able to slide into the Shawn Michaels role, the Undertaker's striving, and he does a great job of filling that structure within the match, and he hits a home run like Shawn. But I think it's, I don't think it's that top tier level of Shawn Michaels when Shawn's not there. And then 30, opening WrestleMania, the crowd's hot, Yeselmania, Bryan Daniel as your fucking foil. I think that, those are his 3 best WrestleMania matches for sure. And then we can get into everything else overall. But overall, I don't want to share the sentiment that Triple H sucks, because I clearly don't think he sucks. I'm willing to give him his flowers when warranted. But with longevity and character being his strongest suit, I just feel that to get to the tip tier level, I think a little bit of those strong attributes have a lot of flaws in them, where others don't. I like Triple H. I would fight for him to be top 25, but I just not top 10. So I just think there's others above him.
I want to echo what you said, actually, if you don't mind, about us not putting him in the top 10 doesn't mean he's bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that we don't like Triple H, or he doesn't have good matches. He's got a lot of good matches under his belt. But I can't ignore how many boring ass Triple H matches I've seen in my life. You know what I'm saying? He's been around for a long time. Obviously, that's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But I like you said, the WrestleMania matches, besides that, and maybe like early stuff like back in 2099, I don't go back and watch that many Triple H matches for real. You know what I mean? It's like the decline, especially as time goes on, that matters. You know what I mean? It's not just, okay, well, he got up to his prime, and then whatever happens afterwards, whatever, just because he's getting older. You got to be consistent. People like AJ Styles has been mostly consistent. Obviously, you're going to age. They've been consistent, you know, throughout their careers. But man, I go back. You don't know the feeling sitting in the top of MetLife Stadium in a 5.5-hour WrestleMania and then having to sit through that 35-minute Triple H Batista match. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's not, you know what I mean? That could be a couple people's fault, but Triple H is one half of that match. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I've had to sit back and watch a lot of those 35-minute Triple H matches where they just do not much. And that's happened for the last 20 years. You know what I mean? So in terms of the match quality, that's how I feel about it for sure. Nate, what you think?
Yeah, I wanna spin the block on this because Seth Rollins and Triple H, fuck that match. I hate that match. I almost fell asleep watching that match. I think Triple H, we talked about Triple H versus Batista, and we said that's a Triple H structured match, which at its best is fine. It's a good match. It's nice. They tell a story, but that match doesn't tend to go long. But he has matches that tend to go far too. The Hell in a Cell or that 3 Stages of Hell match with Shawn Michaels. Yeah, what the fuck? Why are you going that long? Like, there's just matches where they're 30 plus minutes, 40 plus minutes, and it's like, dude, you could have chopped 10 minutes off this off, but you wanted to work a hold because you're freaking NWA Mark and you love the freaking in-ring psychology, which I respect it, but there's a reason why I put certain people above them, which we'll do.
Yeah, you got to adapt to the times.
Yeah, you got to adapt to the times, and we don't want to sit through this anymore. You got guys like Jericho and Guerrero and Angle who are technical masterminds in the ring, but they can pick a body part and they can pick it apart, but they don't got to take 20 minutes to tell that story. So at its best, it's fine. It's fine. And like the Triple H structure matches that are really good are against guys who can wrestle a fucking broomstick and have a 5-star match. Matches against guys like Angle or Michaels or Rollins or Jericho or Ed, you know, whoever, like, you put those top matches against, most of those guys are like, dude, of course I want to have a great match because I have a great match with everyone. And then you got like the Taker, which we're going to give Triple H's flowers on that. They told an amazing story, fantastic 4-year story technically, but for him and Taker, the 2-year story they told, absolutely beautiful, absolutely peak. But with Bryan, of course you're going to have a great match with Daniel Bryan. It's Daniel Bryan. Who doesn't have a great match against Daniel Bryan? If you don't have a good match against Daniel Bryan, you got to reconsider wrestling. You might be in the wrong profession. But that's all we have that's what we're going to do for the in-ring. Unless you guys got anything more to say about in-ring.
I want to talk about promos again because we talked about promos briefly.
Yes.
Yeah. I started watching WWE in, I want to say 2007, like November 2007. My least favorite genre of Triple H promos is when he tries to be funny, when he tries to do comedy, especially as the 2000s went on. I don't think I've ever laughed at a Triple H joke one time in my entire life, even as a child. You know what I mean? And he's done that a lot since I've started watching, and it is rarely ever hit for me. And it's been a lot of his promos. Obviously, you know, he's going to have the serious stuff like we just talked about with The Undertaker. I'm not going to discount all the actual, you know, real storylines that he has. But there's a lot of stuff in between, especially at these B-level pay-per-views where he's not taking stuff, you know, too seriously, you know, making jokes, especially in the DX eras when they relaunched in, 2006, 2009. It's not for me. Not for me, man. I don't know. What y'all think about his promos?
Long and drawn out, like his matches.
Okay.
That's kind of, I think his matches and his promos kind of have the same, like, just long, drawn out, takes forever to get to the point. And at its best, well, for promos, at its best, it's good. But at its worst, it's like, bro, just like that Authority. You talk about 2003, talk about 2015 or 2013, 14, 15, the Authority. Like every week, just come out, cut the same promo over and over. And like, he's not saying anything new. You know, and I get that's on the writing, but it's also like you're the one who has to go out there and perform and say it. Like John Cena goes out there and cuts promos. Like he said stuff that that we're like, but like he's still a great promo. I think he's better than Triple H. And like you can't control Triple H probably more than people can, but there's a certain limit to what you can control. You know, he's like, you're gonna go out there, you're gonna open, give us this promo. And it's like, it's not good. It's not good. It's not great. It's not great.
One, just to put a bow on his in-ring work or whatever. So leading into that where he tore his ACL in the summer of 2001, he had a fantastic stretch. Coming out of that, I just felt that he was way too heavy because he became like a body guy. And then he structured everything around that, right? So when we say like a Triple H match, we mean like a main event match that, wow, it's WrestleMania 25, right? And it's WrestleMania, whatever he's over there, Jericho at 18, right? He wants to pace himself so he doesn't go out there and embarrass himself. But when he's in there with The Undertaker and he's in there with Daniel Bryan, that's an example of a Daniel Bryan in an Undertaker structure where he colors in the lines perfectly fine. It doesn't go outside the lines, and he fits in perfectly and does his job awesome. But when he's out there to make himself look like the man, the game, so on and so forth, post 2001, 2002, when he's back with that injury, he doesn't know how to read a room. He doesn't know structurally wise. He doesn't want to, I don't know. It's just like a lot of, like, I want to transition to the politics with that, but I think that there's a lot of insecurities because of his knee shine with his, let's say, misses of a matches. So what do you got? What's up there, Nate? Next for us, Nate, on the structure.
I mean, you already talked about the politics. Let's just jump into it. I'll let you take the lead because you got some stuff to say.
Well, so ever since coming into the company, there's reports dating back to like 1997, pre-Stephanie, that he's in these booking meetings, that he's in the production meetings. And before that, he's driving around Sean Waltman, X-Pac, Nash, Hall, HBK. When they're all zonked out, he's driving the minivan and he's learning from those guys. And with those guys, right, in 95, they're moving the chess pieces to project themselves up top. So he kind of learned from them. So it's to the start, it's in his core. And do you blame him for that? It's politics, right? It's like the Rock played him. Hogan probably wrote the book, right? So there's like, it's kind of something you got to do if you want to get to that top. To use it against them, perhaps from a longevity standpoint, did he use those politics to kind of push guys like a Rob Van Dam in 2001, 2002 down? Perhaps. Like Kurt Angle in 2099, perhaps. Like, and then like later on, guys like even like a Drew Matt, like propping up guys that he wants to push as well. So I think he projects himself strongly. And then, for example, like structuring like WrestleMania cards, making sure he's last at 18, making sure he's last at 25. You got all-time matches right before you that kill your main events. And then you go out there and you go with the same structure. That's where the flexibility hurts and so on and so forth. I just feel that he plays into himself way too much with the politics, of course, but everyone is to an extent. I don't know if like Stephanie is an example that, you know, maybe adds to a layer of that, but it's been always a thing with him. But anyone on this list, there's always a thing. Austin took his ball and went home because he didn't want to lose to Brock Lesnar. Like that has to do with everyone. If you're not shaking your stick, then no one's going to shake it for you to an extent as well. So the politics are kind of hard to kind of gauge, in my opinion, because honestly, they're all rumors and hearsay as well, just to be frank, right? So
I mean, there's always going to be that question mark above his head just based on who he associates with. You know what I mean? Any accomplishment he has in his career, especially after who he got married to, it's always like, okay, well, why is this happening? You know what I mean? You can tell somebody, hey, this is the greatest guy of all time, if they want to tell you that. You know what I mean? So he's always going to have that question mark with him when it comes to why did he deserve this? Is it because he was the best guy, or is it because he's married to Stephanie? And I can't speak on that, maybe, you know what I mean? Because we don't know for sure, but that's always going to be a thought forever. And that's, you know, maybe not his fault. He married who he wanted to marry, but you got to have that conversation for sure.
And I think the politics snowballed for extent because like he politicked to get China in the company. And that's when he started getting momentum as a character. So, you know, his ideas came to the forefront and worked for him in his advantage. He's also a brilliant guy. Look at him now, right? It's just muddying the waters when you're pushing your agenda over others as well. So,
all right, your guys' 15 minutes is up. Is there any last things you guys want to say before we start?
Do we just want to say who we have above him real quick? Do we just want to?
I was
Yeah, I
gonna
was
say,
gonna
yeah,
say,
we
let's
gotta
say
say,
that.
we gotta say who's above them. I'll give our top 10
Go ahead.
because we agreed to the top 10.
Okay.
So these are superstars, strictly WWE. We have, as a group, collectively come together and created a top 10 list of WWE superstars who we would pick over Triple H. We'll explain it in the rebuttal, but this is in no order. But we have Austin, Hogan, fuck him, Rock, Roman, Brock, Taker, Seth Rollins, HBK, Cena, Randy Orton. That is our top 10. So y'all can do what y'all got to do with that.
I'm so glad y'all said Brock. I get to eviscerate that merchant. Let's get it.
I told
So
you.
we'll just
What'd I
talk
tell you?
about the things.
I love Brock. But
We'll just talk about the things they discussed, and then we'll just the top 10 will just be the rebuttals because they never really got to explain why they're
Fair
10
enough.
is their 10. So I'll start and I'll just go into the politics stuff because that's what I'm mainly going to talk about, and then I'll let Lewis talk about the match stuff because I know he has some things that he wants to talk about that, and then Mo, you can talk about what you're going to talk about after that. But for the politician stuff, yes, we all get that he's married to Stephanie McMahon. Does that open up more doors for him? Sure, of course. You know, that probably opens up more layers of opportunities. Maybe he wouldn't have had 14 world title reigns. Who knows, right? We can't predict the future. But I feel like that same tax needs to apply to other superstars who are also afforded those opportunities. They may not have been, married into the wrestling family or had, those opportunities like that. But there's tons of people who were born into the business who have gotten tons of world championships. Randy Orton has 14 world titles, but nobody ever wants to tax Randy Orton for having 14 world championships. Maybe that has to do with, him being, Bob Orton's son. I mean, he even spoke about how he just had an easy opportunity to get to WWE because he didn't know what he was going to do with his life. And then one day he calls up his dad and says, "Hey, you think you can give me a tryout?" "Sure, son. Let me see what I can do." Like, that's an easy access of opportunity for somebody to have an opportunity to do something. Now, obviously, Randy Orton had to prove himself once he got there, and he did just that. But I think a lot of people forget Triple H was already kind of a made guy before he even got married to Stephanie. Like, he was already moving up the rankings, aligning himself with like DX, as far as like Shawn and aligning himself with guys like, Shawn Michaels and, Razor Ramon and Diesel and all those guys. That's just smart in general. Like, you're picking knowledge from the greats. That's what everybody should do. I've talked to Mr. Kennedy, many times, and he told me the first thing that somebody told him when he first was starting to come up was, he was riding with some people and everything, but he was riding with his buddies. And Mr. Kennedy said one veteran, I ain't gonna say who, but he said somebody came up to him and said, "Hey, I know these are your buddies you're riding with, but you need to start riding with some of the vets. You need to pick some of their knowledge and brains and everything. You need to kind of, look out for yourself." I mean, it's a business, you know what I mean? So, I mean, you can still ride with your buddies, but you need to pick knowledge from some of the greats if you're trying to move up the rankings. It's only going to help you further the game. And Triple H was smart enough to realize, like, I want to be great at this. I want to be somebody who can, excel at this and be an all-time great. So why would he not pick knowledge from somebody like Shawn Michaels, who's maybe the greatest wrestler that we've ever seen in ring wise? Somebody like Kevin Nash and Razor Ramon, people who've been around the block, who know the business, you know what I mean? That's only going to help progress you further. So, the marriage thing, I get that that's always going to be an asterisk attached to him because it does look suspicious when you're married to the boss's daughter and you're able to get multiple WrestleMania main events or world championship reigns. I mean, we get that. It does look suspicious in the end, but that logic, people never want to apply it to other people in the same aspect. Charlotte Flair, 14 world championships. Randy Orton has multiple world championships. Look at the whole success of the entire bloodline in wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, all these people have been afforded opportunities because of who they're related to or where they come from. It doesn't really mean that they're not good at what they do necessarily. All these people have to still prove themselves at the end of the day. And Triple H, I feel like, has proven himself on multiple aspects of occasions. I'm not saying he would have been a 14-time world champion, but he definitely still would have been one of their top guys for sure. He was already headed that way before he even got married to Stephanie McMahon. So I feel like that tax, to me, people only want to apply because of the marriage aspect, but I feel like that same tax has to be the same nepotism when people are literally born into the family and then Next thing you know, not everybody, it doesn't happen with everybody, but you look at a lot of people within WWE who are in the wrestling family, they're able to either get into the business easily, and then they're able to rise up to where they are because of how they were able to get into the business, you know? So I just feel like that's a little tax that people don't want to use for other people. They just want to use strictly for Triple H, which I think is not a fair assessment to him. So, Lewis, I'll let you take over the next topic.
Yeah, my bad if I'm like lagging or whatever. I'm just still trying to figure out what's going on with the connection. But one thing, main thing that I really want to touch upon first is the flexibility in ring. I think it's kind of bullshit that we put in that tax on Triple H when considering some of the all-time greats in professional wrestling history are extremely one-dimensional in the ring. From the Austins, the Maivias, to the Flairs, guys like that are extremely one-dimensional. So I don't think it's fair to put that tax on Triple H for not being as flexible when some of the greatest of all time are not as flexible as he is either. So we don't got to talk about the classics or anything like that because it'll be stupid to waste my time. We know what Triple H's classics are, yada yada yada. What I want to touch upon is the stipulation merchant. I don't think Triple H is a stipulation merchant. I actually spent the last 2 days watching Triple H matches that do not involve a stipulation. So I would like to go over all these list of matches, and however you feel, if you feel it's a Triple H constructed match or an opponent constructed match, at the end of the day, Triple H plays a part and he has to do well. He has to execute no matter what, no matter who's leading or who he's not leading. So obviously, Triple H versus Jeff for the WWE Championship, No Mercy 08. Good match, helped elevate Jeff Hardy a little bit more with the story. Triple H versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30, one of the greatest WrestleMania openers, if not the greatest WrestleMania opener of all time. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon versus Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle at 34. I'm sorry, that was a Triple H-led match. Nobody can tell me otherwise. That's a washed-up, old, bald Kurt Angle. Stephanie that hasn't wrestled since SummerSlam, 2013? And a newly fresh Ronda Rousey. Obviously, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit for the world title at WrestleMania 20. I hate Benoit as much as the next guy, but Triple H played his part extremely well. All three guys, honestly, nobody outshined the other. And then these next two matches, which I firmly believe are also Triple H-led matches, and these are the John Cena matches. Both of them are for the WWE Championship. WrestleMania 22, Night of Champions 08. Those are Triple H-led matches, and he made Cena look like a fucking god at WrestleMania 22, which solidified him as the guy when he tapped out. And then Night of Champions 08, furthering John Cena's storyline of trying to chase the WWE Championship. Both of those are Triple H-led matches without stipulations. Triple H versus Taka Michinoku on Raw, classic, fast-paced, big brawler, cruiserweight match. He made Taka Michinoku look like $1 million, one of the best false finishes. Triple H versus Chris Benoit, No Mercy 2000. Chris Benoit, obviously not coming off Chris Benoit not being prevalent in the main event scene at this time. This was a Triple H-led match, slowed the pace down. Benoit did his thing. Triple H versus Kurt Angle, Royal Rumble 2001 for the WWF title. To me, that was another Triple H-led match. Kurt Angle still sort of green around this time, even though he was the world champion, because they really want to solidify Kurt. That's another Triple H-led match without stipulation. Obviously, Undertaker, WrestleMania 17 against Benoit, Vengeance 04 for the heavyweight championship. Made Chris Benoit look like $1 million and solidified his title reign as the guy going forward. Great American Bash 08 for the WWE Championship against Edge. To me, that's another Triple H-led match. Edge was just filling in the lines, like you guys were saying. That's all Edge was doing. He was playing Follow the Leader. Triple H did a good job at that. Jeff Hardy, again, Cyber Sunday 08 for the WWE Championship. Another Triple H-led match. Did a great job at doing the false finishes for Jeff Hardy. Obviously, back-to-back great tag matches in back-to-back years. So the first tag match, we got Triple H and Chris Jericho versus Chris Benoit and my Via bitch ass on Raw. Great tag match. Then we're following that up with one of the greatest Raw matches, regardless of stipulations, with Triple H and Stone Cold versus Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho. One of the greatest tag matches ever. No stipulation on that. And the last but not least, you got Triple H versus Shawn Michaels versus John Cena, Survivor Series 09 for the WWE Championship. So basically what I'm saying is the past 2 days, I saw this motherfucker put on bangers without a stipulation. I understand the argument that some of his best matches, which I will agree, I'm not going to argue. If you bring it up, I'm going to stay shut because there's literally no point of arguing it. His best matches do involve stipulations, but insinuating stipulation merchant means he needs a stipulation match to have a banger of a match. And I spent the last 2 days disproving that claim that Triple H and all that's a whole gosh.
Mo, I'm gonna let you go. Just go ahead. This connection's cut out.
I could
All right. So, okay, go ahead.
All right, so I'm gonna try to get to. So basically, if we're implying merchant means that this guy is watching Triple H in non-stipulation matches put on good matches. He's not a stipulation merchant. He doesn't need it. Now, does he have to use it to? Yeah, so do what superstars like Jeff Hardy needs to jump off of shit to have a. No, Triple H is not a stipulation merchant. He's.
So I feel like I'm going to start my argument with a question to the other team. I'm going to talk about his title reigns. Question for y'all. Do you feel like Triple H stat padded a lot of his title reigns?
That era stat padded their title reigns.
I feel
Made my point for me.
But we're talking kayfabe stuff.
go ahead. No, let him go.
So I actually sat down and did my homework and broke down every last one of those 14 world title reigns. And to be honest, the good very much outweighs the bad. So let's talk about the first 5, which took place in the Attitude Era. And with that, like y'all said, Attitude Era full of flip-flopping title reigns. So I'm going to compare him to a guy who was his contemporary in the Attitude Era, which is The Rock. So, longest reign for The Rock, 119 days. Longest reign for Triple H, 118 days. Shortest reign for The Rock, 2 days. Shortest reign for Triple H, 22. Average days for The Rock as champion, 43 days. Average days for Triple H, 52 days. Now, to me, I don't think the length of a title reign matters. Would you say The Rock is a good all-time great world champion?
I would, for sure.
Okay. I don't think either one of them should be taxed because I don't think the length of a title reign should matter if you are producing good work. Because you can have a long title reign and it be a bunch of BS, but you can also have a short title reign and give you a lot of great work. For example, its 5 reigns consisted of matches like Austin and No Mercy 99, the first ever SmackDown main event with Rock and HBK as a special guest referee. Both Cactus Jack matches. Those matches that established him as the top main event heel of that era. Like Lewis mentioned, Triple H and Taka Michinoku on Raw. Backlash 2000. He has all that elite work. 2000 and 2001 were built off the back of The Rock and Triple H, and they needed each other to make it what was arguably the best year in company history. And within that time, you had feuds like the feud with Austin, the feud with Rock, the feud with Foley, the feud with Vince that sparked the Helmsley McMahon regime at that time. So that's the first five title reigns, which produced great elite heel work that I think is the peak of Triple H's career. So now let's talk about the Reign of Terror. And I'm glad y'all brought Brock Lesnar onto your top 10 because let's dissect that man real quick. Let's go ahead and cook that man real quick. So obviously Triple H's main tax for a lot of people is the Reign of Terror, right? I'm going to give y'all a Reign of Terror that I think is significantly worse from a guy that y'all put above him, and that is Brock Lesnar. Triple H in 2002 to 2005, 5 world title reigns as the world heavyweight champion. Brock Lesnar from 2017 to 2020. 3-time Universal Champion, 1-time WWE Champion. I 100% think Brock Lesnar's Reign of Terror did way more damage than Triple H. Let's talk about the bad from Triple H. Katie Vick, I think that really goes without explanation, right? And then, of course, all of 2003. I'll give you that. But I think every wrestler has their low years. I'm not going to defend nothing from 2003. That is a whole year of a steaming pile of mid. So let's look at Brock's bad. The feuds with Joe, Braun, Roman especially, and then when he wasn't there, the championship felt like it didn't even exist. WWE pretended it didn't even exist when they were trying to establish the Universal Championship as the #1 title in the company. When Triple H was World Heavyweight Champion, yes, there was a lot of bad in there, but you still knew that was still the number one championship in the company. It still felt like the most important belt on the show. And then let's look at the good from both of them. Good from Triple H. You had feuds with Shawn in there. The feud with Orton. The feud with Batista especially. The feud with Benoit. First ever Elimination Chamber. And then, of course, during that time, leading one of the greatest factions, arguably the greatest faction in WWE history in Evolution. So if Roman Reigns gets all this love for leading one of the greatest factions of all time, gets all the points for that, I feel like Triple H deserves some points for that as well. Now let's look at Brock's good. Fatal 4-way match that at SummerSlam 2017. Both Survivor Series matches with AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. And then, he elevated Drew. And I forgot to mention, he did squash Kofi to feud with Cain Velasquez.
09 SmackDown before we talk about that. Or 19.
Cain Velasquez. For sure. All right. And notice with Brock, I mentioned 0 classic feuds. Not one. You had one solid one with Drew McIntyre. No classic feuds. So if we got this energy for Triple H, where's that same energy for Brock Lesnar? I'll save my venom for Brock because I haven't even gotten started with that fraud. Love him, but he's a fraud.
To add on to one more point, when we were talking about the elevation of talent, Triple H has also done a lot of that. Like, I think a lot of people always look at his, matches that maybe he shouldn't have won, like the Booker T match at WrestleMania and everything, and the burial of talent. But he also helped make a lot of guys in those scenarios. You look at the 3 WrestleManias from WrestleMania 20 to 21 to 22, he helped solidify 3 main event guys 3 years in a row. They basically were using Triple H to give the rub off to other people to help either make them main event guys or solidifying them at the top of the echelon. Benoit, that made him a main event guy after Triple H tapped out to him at WrestleMania. Batista helped elevate him up to a main event guy. And then John Cena at WrestleMania 22, to me, that's what solidified Cena as the face of the company. Because in 2005, it was really neck and neck between Cena and Batista. Like, who's going to be the next guy? Like, it was very, very close. Then Batista got injured, unfortunately. But once, John Cena tapped out, made Triple H tap out at WrestleMania, look at the gap between Batista's career and then Cena's career afterwards. It wasn't even close after that. After that Triple H match, people knew Cena was the guy, and Batista never was even coming close to touching that stratosphere ever again. And then you also talk about, somebody brought up the authority aspect too, but storyline wise, that helped make Seth Rollins the top guy. It helped make Daniel Bryan bigger than ever during that time frame because of that storyline. So he's helped make other guys too within the time frames that he was, maybe having a reign of terror or maybe doing things that people may not have liked, or whatever he was presenting on television. So, and then to dive into the top 10 that we have, and which we'll all do our rebuttals now. The only people that we're not going to debate that we definitely have over Triple H are Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, The Rock, Stone Cold, John Cena, and The Undertaker. Those 6 for sure. We don't have to talk about that because those people are for sure over Triple H.
I also want to talk about just the political aspect. Me personally, I don't give a shit about it because some of the greatest wrestlers of all time have also politic, like Hogan, like Shawn, to stay on top to an extent. So many other guys have politics to stay their way onto the top. Even with me being a guy in training, I see it at my wrestling schools. Like, politicking is never going to stop. People politic all the time. So if we're going to heavily tax somebody for politicking and staying on top, then there's a lot of guys that are ahead of him that need to be taxed harder because they more than likely politicked harder than Triple H has had, like Hogan, like Shawn. So I'm just putting that out there too.
Yeah, so those 6 people that I talked about, we don't have to discuss that because those people we all have over Triple H. Roman Reigns, we want to argue that because Roman Reigns is very up there, at least for all of us. He's moved up a lot with the Tribal Chief stuff. But when it comes to Edge, Seth Rollins, and Randy Orton, we believe Triple H is above those 3 guys. And we have rebuttals that we can talk about now. So I'll let you guys go again because you guys never got to talk about why the people that you had in your 10 were over Triple H. So I'll let you guys start with that.
All right. Well, let's see. I see you, Mo.
Mainly the ones that just those 3. The other ones we don't have to because we have.
You said Seth,
Edge, and Brock Lesnar, and Randy Orton.
Edge and Brock Lesnar. And Randy?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Seth, I've already said it, man. I just think Seth is a more complete package than Triple H. I think Triple H has it down in ring psychology wise, but I think Seth is still a better wrestler. I think Seth has great in ring psychology and is actually like entertaining. And I think character, like yes, Seth has had several characters, but I can really only name one character that I've looked at for Seth. Like, damn, like what is this? And that's when he won the Universal Championship. Every one of Seth Rollins' characters, besides that one, has hit, and I think he's more versatile than Triple H. If I'm being 110% honest, and I think his promos are better. I think the work that he's done the past it's been 10. God damn, I'm old. Like 10 plus years has been phenomenal. It's been phenomenal. So I have Seth over Triple H. Reason I put Brock over Triple H is, first of all, the greatest rookie year in wrestling history, like just goes without saying. Absolutely insane. Broke the streak. Has multiple classics. That's why I put Brock over Triple H. And I think, God, man, he could be. I'm not even gonna bring up in ring because Brock, when he don't want to work, he don't work. But when he works, that boy works. And he's had a lot of great matches, especially in that early part of his career. And like the fact that people still wanted him back for only 2 years. Only 2 years of work. And he came back and people were fucking excited. I think that speaks enough for himself. And who else? Randy Orton. I feel like Randy Orton and Triple H. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go. Please.
I feel like it's undeniable because yes, he did have a long reign, longer than it probably should have gone on for sure. That's undeniable. But what I also think is undeniable is the fact that every match that he had, especially after he came back, was a must-see match. There wasn't a single time where I saw, okay, he's going to have, this championship match. He's going to be in this Rumble. There wasn't a single time where I thought, okay, I don't want to see what happens in this match. Whether or not you're like excited
to be honest,
win it. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I was going to say, I'll give you that. Outside of the Roman stuff, I think a lot of the Brock matches, the builds were solid. Like the one with Joe, that build was great. Like the match could have been better, but the build was great. The Braun Strowman match, the match could have been better, but that build you wanted to see. Like we all tuned in to see that shit. The Roman stuff, no, we didn't want to see that shit. No one wanted to see that shit. When they put him against Jinder Mahal, ain't nobody wanted to see that shit.
maybe I exaggerated a little bit, but for the most part, I honestly that's what I believe for sure, because I just think that the Styles match, the Bryan match specifically, like there are certain matchups that I get excited for. Whether or not I think, okay, Brock's going to win again, I'm excited to see it. I don't have that same feeling for Triple H matches, especially, in the later stages of his career, which, what I'm more familiar with. Yeah, that's my take on that for sure.
All right, I'll talk presentation of Brock versus presentation for Triple H. They present Brock as an attraction, like Taker, like Andre before that. Brock is presented as the attraction. They fucked up by putting the belt on the attraction. Is that Brock's fault? Perhaps, whatever, but that's where they fucked up because they didn't have that upper echelon star power that they have now back in 16, 17, 18. So they put the belt on the attraction, and Triple H is the star of the show, right? So for him to get his title reigns to be weighed with Brock's, I understand your sentiment because you're not wrong. Like Brock's title reigns in that time is ass, but to use that as your argument, Brock's an attraction. They just put the belt on the attraction. It's just different lanes. That's what I'm talking about there. In Brock's Brock's higher matches are so much fucking higher than Triple H's. It's not even true. It's not even like close in my opinion. It's not even close. 02 to 04 Brock, you guys left out heaters, man. Undertaker feud, Kurt Angle feud, Iron Man, SummerSlam with Kurt Angle, Brock Hell in the Cell. Like you guys left out so much. WrestleMania with Kurt Angle was very good. Like, so those are two feuds that he's had in his early on years that were fantastic to establish him. And he's green as shit. So he made all that work and produced all that in 2 years while being not wanting to be there for the latter stages of it as well. And then him coming back with his big attraction matches, he has a lot of hits and a lot of misses. That's just what it is. But I feel that his highs are much higher than Triple H's. And I feel that the Brock Lesnar structure of a match is risky, but when it hits harder than a Triple H structure of a match. We ain't talking about Triple H miss. The batting average is similar, but I feel that the highs are highs with Brock and the lows are middling with Triple H. Like Triple H has way more swings in the main events and WrestleManias that just don't hit with Brock.
Okay, so I'm gonna
His heights hit.
Can we rebut? Are we?
Yeah,
are we
yeah.
allowed to
I want to
rebuttal?
stop you right there real quick.
Are we?
I see Mo.
I want to.
Can I eviscerate
Yeah,
Brock
yeah.
Lesnar?
No, I'm
please?
like,
I wanna-
I'm like,
Please.
bro.
I've been wanting
There's
to.
a lot of
Guys,
thug
I've been
shit
wanting to say
being
this on the
cooked, man.
podcast. It's not about y'all
No,
three.
go
I love
ahead.
y'all, but it's not about y'all. I've been
Let
wanting
me
to eviscerate
let me
Brock
say something real
Lesnar
quick, and I'm gonna let
so
y'all go.
long.
So, you brought up a good point. Brock
Okay.
definitely was an attraction for sure. The later years, they used him as an attraction, and I've been in the arenas when Brock's music hits. There's a different vibe to it.
There's a
You know
vibe,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like whether people liked Brock Lesnar or not, he was still interesting to see whether he was having good or bad stuff going on because of who his name value, right? But you said something about Brock's highs being highs. He had some good highs. You know, if he had stayed in, if Brock had stayed in WWE, I think he would have went down top 5 all time. If he had stayed like all those years,
Yeah.
he was pushing like elite category
He has the
conversation.
attributes for sure to get
Just
there.
by the way they were pushing him.
Yeah.
But I don't think his highs are higher than Triple H. When Brock Lesnar was at his highs with the Universal Championship reign, it was the worst WWE's product was at that time frame. And Brock Lesnar was a huge part of that reason of him holding the title hostage, not having any good appealing storylines in that time frame. Like Triple H's Reign of Terror was bad, but the shows were still watchable. Like Raw was still watchable every week. When Brock Lesnar was champion from 2017 to 2019, Raw was unbearable to watch.
He wasn't there most of the time.
And that's part of the reason why it was unbearable. To watch,
But that's
'cause he was
not
the
the
why.
champion.
problem.
He's an attraction. It's
That's
not
the
on
It's not
him.
Brock's
One of
fault.
the
I don't
reasons-
think
It
it's
is.
on him.
It is on him because he's holding the title. He has the title.
I'm gonna rebuttal this. I'm gonna rebuttal this. It's
I'm gonna go right after you.
it kind of is, but it's not because we've seen when you have part-time champions, you can still have a good show. Roman's never there, but yet SmackDown's still a good show. So you can't just put it all on Brock because they had good stuff with the IC Championship. That's just WWE creative just fucking sucking at the time. Like we can't control that Vince was in charge and didn't know how to book a show. Even when Brock was there, the show still wasn't good because the fucking writing was terrible. When Roman's gone, the writing's good or good to great. When he's there, the writing's good to great. Like you can't completely fault Brock not being there. It's just a product. Like that shit was just not good. Even if fucking Seth Rollins, we saw when Seth Rollins was champion, that shit was ass. It still was ass.
So,
Like
let me
overall,
ask you that too.
SmackDown was still ass.
So to add on to that, I strongly disagree with that statement. That fully is on Brock Lesnar because when Roman Reigns is there, you don't think Roman Reigns has the power to control the stories or the things that he's doing when he's in? You don't think Brock Lesnar has the power to? You saw it with Jinder Mahal, bro. When they had that, man, get that shit out of here, bro. I'm not working with Jinder Mahal.
Yeah, good on Brock. Good on Brock.
Brock Lesnar, if
Good
he
on
had
Brock.
cared enough, could have easily told still good stories and had good stuff going on in that time frame. He just didn't, which is why it was bad. Like it was insufferable to watch him as the champion. He had for 504 days as champion. You're telling me he couldn't have any good stories in that time frame, no matter how the creative is.
He
He
might
couldn't
have
have
been there for 40.
any good storylines in that time frame. Barely any good matches. He couldn't have
Why-
any.
Why are we making excuses for
Yeah, it was
ass?
just
That's what
bad.
I'm
I'm
making
And he
saying.
was
excuses.
going
I'm just saying it's not.
The energy is not the same.
It's not
I'm ready to-
fully.
I'm
Like,
ready to
I
fry
can
this
understand.
man.
How is it we talk about this shit every week, how when Brock Lesnar was the champion, how unwatchable
The product was unwatchable
because
regardless.
of how Nate. So I'm gonna go off a point that you said. You said that the Braun Strowman and the Samoa Joe feud, like the way they were built up, was
Yes, it
great,
was.
right? Do you know what's worse than a shitty match not delivering on a shitty build? A match not delivering on a great build. He had that time and time again throughout his reign. He had so many fire builds, and the result that he gave us was dog shit. You mean to tell me you couldn't put on a banger match with Braun Strowman? Roman Reigns was doing it all 2017. You mean to tell me you couldn't have a decent feud with Samoa Joe for the title? Roman Reigns did it majority of 2018. Like, Brock with his Universal Championship reign, the way people want to tax Triple H, Brock in his Universal Championship reign on the people he beat and how he beat them, a lot of them still haven't recovered. Braun Strowman still hasn't recovered from them 3 ass whoopings Brock Lesnar gave him. Samoa Joe had a little bit of steam going back to AJ Styles, but was never the same as he was when he faced Brock
Kofi
Lesnar.
Kingston, bro.
There's a lot of guys that face Brock.
Never been
There's
in
a
the
lot
top
of guys that
position
face
after
Brock.
Like he never even got a rematch.
Can I
Kofi
can I
Kingston
fry
got
him?
smoked.
Can I
fry
give
him now?
just rebuttal? Can I just add to Nate real quick, and then I'll
Yeah,
throw
go
it to
ahead,
you.
North South.
They've done a great job isolating the Roman Reigns story and the Bloodline story, so he can go away and it can be super compelling. They didn't isolate shit. They just put the belt on Brock and said, "See you later." Yes, you can say it's on Brock, but as a whole, we know right now the current day WWE construction of how they present stories are much better than 5, 6, 7 years ago, where you guys are taking an inch and running a mile with. Stop with that.
But why are we acting like it's just 50-50 though? There was numerous reports that said Brock
Because
didn't want to
it's
show
in his
up
contract, he
to
ain't
work.
got to.
What
But
are
no,
we
they've
doing?
isolated all the.
It's not 50-50.
I think you guys are taking
Alright, hold on,
something
hold
and
on,
going
hold on.
super
Crazy.
long with it.
Can we analyze this
That was you your
accolade?
entire first rebuttal.
Hold on,
You guys
hold
take
on,
this
hold
little
on,
Brock thing and run a mile with it.
1 second.
You spent
1 second.
7 minutes on Triple H
Here
centered
comes
matches.
the tight end braids.
Like all these matches you gave me, I gave them 3.5 to fucking 4 stars, but like they're very good. They ain't great.
I never
But
said they were
he's a
great.
ve-
My
is he a
my
great-
document
because
actually
you ain't
says
top 10 if you're very good. Like we ain't saying he ain't very good. You have to take this Brock Lesnar stuff and just run it.
wait.
what?
No,
All right,
man, it's
my
just
bad.
Hold on. Let
Throw
me
the ball.
analyze.
No, you
yeah,
can
Let me-
it's just
That's
it all
crazy.
happened, bro. We saw it happen. Like we watched it.
All right, braids.
Wait, no,
17. All right,
because
go.
all right, waves. Look here. Let's analyze this accolades merchant that is Brock Lesnar. By the way, I love Brock as a wrestler. This is not. This is just to put his career into perspective. Because too many times people, when they put him in this top 10 conversation, it's like, well, look at the accolades without adding the context to it. Let's dive into it. The first 2 years of his career, I will not have a word of negative to say about that. Put that away. Great peak, fantastic. But it's only 2 years. Now let's talk about, I'll cut it off from 2012 to 2023 because that's the last time we saw him. I'll cut it off there. The last 11 years of Brock Lesnar's career. 2012 until WrestleMania 40. Hot pile of mid. He had the one CM Punk match. That's it. Then he breaks the streak. Okay, and then he goes on a great run until about 2016. Or we'll take it until 2017 when he beat Goldberg. We'll give him that because that feud was fun. Then he beats Goldberg. And that was 3 years of crap. I can't cuss. I'm fast. Just garbage. Buns. The reason why we can say he's a special attraction, but when you're an attraction, we're coming to see you and we're excited to see you, and you don't deliver every single time we're coming to see you for 4 years straight. When you're trying to establish a new championship, we gave you the championship, and you've made that championship feel like at some points didn't even exist. While when Triple H, yes, he had his bad with the reign of terror, but at least the championship felt like it mattered. When Brock Lesnar was the championship didn't feel like it mattered at all. And then after he came back, 2021, the feud with Roman, you had the tractor thing, and that was about it. Outside of that, the Cody Rhodes feud. Why did he win the Royal Rumble again? For what? Why did he win the WWE Championship twice? For what? Double stat pad in the span of 2 months is diabolical. That is a majority. He had the WWE Championship, I believe, in his first run 3 times. So 3, and I'll give him the WWE Championship reign in 2014. So 4 out of 10 reigns, trash. Or 6 out of 10 reigns, trash. Just trash. Flat out garbage. What are we hyping up here? Because even if we get into talent, sure, I'll give Brock in ring. At their best, I'll give Brock in ring. But if you want to get into like character work, promo work, there's a reason why when they took Paul Heyman away from him, they gave him back Paul Heyman because he can't talk. Because he can't talk. One guy can talk, one guy cannot.
All right,
I mean, Triple H is definitely a better promo than Brock Lesnar. I kind of want to get off the Brock Lesnar stuff for sure,
Yeah.
but we're kind of comparing what seems like maybe 2 similar careers. To be honest with you, it seems a little closer than we might think for
It
sure.
ain't similar though. I don't think it's similar at all. I think it's kind of disingenuous to say Brock has
The bad
the
outweighs the good.
highs that Triple H has had. When we're looking at Triple H's highs, a lot of his feuds are fucking company shaking. Some shit that we're gonna tell our grandkids in fucking history class about. Like we're talking about Triple H versus Shawn. How did that change the business? They completely elevated the best friends, bitter rival storyline that we see to this day. We saw it with Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa in Black and Gold. We continuously see it with Gargano, not Gargano, with Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. We see it with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens now. Like those stories, best friends, bitter rivals, don't happen without the elevation of Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Then we're talking about Triple H versus Undertaker, where before this bloodline story happened, was literally almost locked to a lot of people as the greatest story ever told. Literally, almost every single wrestling WWE fan, when they're talking about Triple H and Undertaker before the bloodline happened, damn near more than likely had Triple H and Undertaker that 3-year stretch as the greatest story ever told. And then you're looking at Triple H, who's responsible for being at the head of building up two of the biggest babyface peaks of my lifetime, which is Jeff Hardy and Daniel Bryan. Literally, company shaken. Oh, wait, Jeff Hardy being bigger than Obama and Daniel Bryan. I mean, we ain't got to talk about 2013 Daniel Bryan. I mean, come on, man. So I don't see where Brock Lesnar has any, like, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle is elite. It's not, I'm not putting it on the same level as Undertaker and Triple H, though. Sorry. Doesn't have the story, doesn't have the layers. Just a great WrestleFest, which I love. I love wrestling, but it doesn't have the layers on that. Doesn't have the layers of Triple H and Shawn
They're not the
Michaels.
same
It
wrestler,
doesn't.
though. I don't look at
One
Brock
question.
Lesnar matches to feel emotion like for real. He's just like a monster that kind of kills people. You kind of see that in the Styles matches, in the Bryan matches. You go ahead and you see, you know what I mean?
agree.
And
Okay.
I don't want to act like Brock's never put anybody over like y'all say Triple H has, or he's, you know, trying to elevate careers, because he did that with Drew. He did that with Drew for sure. He put over Cody. He
I was
put over
gonna
Rollins.
ask.
Go
I was
ahead.
gonna ask. All right, no.
No,
you
that,
got it.
I'm
Roman
not.
over
I'm
Seth.
not-
You're gonna answer my question. You're about to answer my question, so continue.
No,
You're
but
good.
that's kind of the examples that I have. But I think it is closer than you might give it credit for sure.
Dude,
I was gonna say, like, outside of Drew and kind of Cody, I guess. Who else is he really elevated? That was my question. And I mean,
he's
that
an
was it.
attraction. He's supposed to have attracting matches like Cena, Extreme Rules 12, Punk, SummerSlam 13, the 4-way in 17, Rumble 3-way in 15, SummerSlam 2022, WrestleMania 31, the Streak moment, Brock, and then all the stuff from 04, 03 that we threw aside. So he definitely has high moments and great matches since the return. Those are, like, I don't know if does Triple H have a match as good as Cena as Extreme Rules with anyone with that veracity and that style? Like, Extreme Rules 2012 is fantastic as a return match. He hadn't wrestled in 8 years. Like,
Are you talking about if Triple H has had a good stipulation match?
like
Or
Brock
would be the
is
greatest
an
of all time with that?
attraction, and Triple H is like the head guy. We can compare them all we want, but the presentation is different.
What's the question? I asked the question though. Are you asking if Triple H has had a good stipulation match that's better than Brock? Yes, he has.
Sure, but you haven't
Many.
even mentioned Triple H.
End of an era wipes any stipulation match Brock has ever
You
had.
talk about the Shawn
Let's get
match.
that out of the
You
way.
haven't even mentioned his best Shawn match. This Raw, December 2023. That's the best match Triple H had during that ruthless aggressive era.
I would go Shawn and Triple H at
For
SummerSlam,
sure.
but I'll let her.
Yeah,
ride.
that's me. That's what I
that's
go. That's
ruthless.
what I
That's
go.
ruthless.
let her
But
ride.
That's
hence the
That's
common
what I go.
denominator there, Sean.
But then we also have Batista and Triple H inside Hell in a Cell. That is a top 5 Hell in a Cell match I've
Great
ever
match.
seen.
For sure.
It's a great match. I look at when we're comparing the two careers. Yes, Triple H has had highs, Brock has had highs, but I feel like I've seen more classic Triple H matches out of the two. I've seen better Triple H storylines when you're comparing to Brock's storylines, and when you compare the lows, Brock has had bad lows, worse than Triple H's lows that I've ever seen. So that is why Brock Lesnar is out above Triple H for me. Then when you move to you guys talked about Seth Rollins for a minute. Did anybody else have something to say about? I know Nate touched on Seth Rollins. You guys have something you want to say about Seth before we rebut on that one?
I said all I had to say.
You guys good on that one?
I got old guys afterwards,
good.
so go ahead. I'm good.
No, you're good. You're good. I just didn't know if you guys had something to say. So we do not have Seth over Triple H, and I'll give Mo time to talk because he hasn't been able to talk a lot. So if you want to say something about that, I'll let you.
I mean, I don't really know what to say about that one. I just feel like if you compare body of work, yes, Seth is a better in-ring worker. I don't think you guys give Brock, not Brock, Jesus. He's been rent-free in my head because I've wanted to slander him. I don't think you guys give Triple H enough credit as a promo. For example, there's one promo in mind when it was him and Seth in a contract signing.
Let's do it.
When he's literally eviscerating the audience. That is one of Triple H's best promos, in my opinion. Also, character work, I think, I don't know. I don't know. I longevity as well. I'll let Lewis go on this one. I was so focused on Brock. I'm like kind of catching up.
Yeah, what's crazy, I don't have Seth above Triple H, but what's crazy is I don't disagree about the fact that Seth Rollins is top 10. I think the common denominator that they're both over is Randy fucking Orton. We can break that motherfucker down another day.
Yeah, that's
But-
one I really, yeah.
But when it comes to Triple H and Seth, I feel like they're neck and neck on a lot of things. I feel like what gives Triple H the edge is just the classic feuds and how groundbreaking the feuds that Triple H was in, like on how they broke the business. Seth has only had one, which is the Roman Reigns storyline, which is still ongoing. The CM Punk feud had potential to do that. It's clearly we can see that they're trying to end that shit so that they can rush Punk to Wrestle, which is unfortunate because that should have been. But that's the only like groundbreaking like business feud I can see for Seth. I've already said countless times what's Triple H's groundbreaking stuff, and you know that's where I feel like he has the edge. Is the classic? He has more classic feuds. He's had better classic feuds, and he's had business altering feuds that completely changed the landscape forever. So that's the reason I have Triple H over Seth. But I'm not mad at Seth being over Triple H, but that's why I have Triple H over Seth personally.
All right, so what is that? You want to dive into the Randy Orton aspect then? Because you said,
Yeah, I don't think Randy Orton is fucking close. I'm sorry. I really don't. I think Randy Orton, the more research I've done on Randy, it's very bleak. You know, like Randy Orton, for the most part, his title reigns were meh. Like people like to talk about 09 Orton. Character work is great, but people like to talk about Triple H's in-ring work. And 09 Orton, we consider his peak. He had a lot of duds in 09. I don't think Orton matches the level, the quality, and the consistency that Triple H has been able to put out. I don't think Randy really compares to Triple H. Even though they're neck and neck on the all-time scale, like when we're ranking, I think Triple H is comfortably better. I think Triple H, for the most part, was a better champion than Randy. I think he's had better feuds. I think he has better matches. Character work, I'll give to Randy Orton. But other than that, I think comfortably everything else is Triple H.
I think impact plays a huge factor into putting him on a top 10 list for sure. I think it's undeniable that Randy Orton is one of the biggest names in wrestling of all time. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I don't necessarily disagree with the point that you made, but it's just like when you compare it to Triple H, I don't know, man. I don't know. He's had a huge impact on the wrestling industry. You know what I mean? Like how many people you see hitting cutters in 15 different ways nowadays. You know what I mean?
And you want to talk about longevity too.
Yes.
No, for sure, longevity is the same
Yes.
way. And I think like we can name a bunch of good Triple H matches. I don't know if that necessarily makes him top 10 just because he's had 20, 30 good to great matches over the last 30 years.
Well, I'm naming.
But
Well,
I
we're
feel
going
like-
off.
No, I
the list
understand that. I'm
guys
just- you know what I
named.
mean.
I'm going off.
Go ahead.
Oh.
I'll name it.
But I feel like we can't tell the story through many eras, through multiple eras. I don't think you can tell the story of a lot of these people's careers without Triple H. That's the impact that Triple H has. He's the biggest op for a lot of these people,
The best bridesmaid,
or
in
one of the
business.
biggest op for a lot of these people.
The best
So what-
bridesmaid in business.
That's crazy.
All right,
I mean,
That's crazy.
You're mean.
all right. Well, I think Triple H would even agree that Bruno would be above Triple H. I'm not going to go old school head too hard here, but I think Triple H would put Bruno above him on a list. I'm just saying. We're talking history WWE.
If he got a camera in front of his face, yeah.
Even so, I think Bruno is a top tier guy. I'm not going to go on this long rant about 60s and 70s and even 80s wrestling, but I think that's
You can. We're not casuals. You can if you want. We're not casuals.
I don't hate
Yeah,
Bruno.
I
at all.
just
Yeah,
think his
got no
impact-
slander for
Yeah,
Bruno.
I think Bruno's underrated. I think he gets
I
underrated.
agree.
You want an
I agree.
all right, here's a quick introduction on Bruno. You want an introduction to Bruno, watch him in 84, 85, 86 with the Macho Man and Roddy Piper. It's kind of modern day wrestling, more than it is from the 60s and 70s. The way he elicits a crowd reaction with those all-time guys as well. Even people in the 70s, there's like small interviews with like, yeah, the undercard stuff is fake, but that Bruno stuff is real. An Italian immigrant coming over with nothing in his pocket and just, making his road with all pure emotion and connectivity. Literally all he did was brawl, and that's all he had to do. His longer matches are a lot of bear hugs and unfortunate, like nowadays that stuff would not translate whatsoever. So I'm not trying to say the man is a well-equipped work rates in 2025 eyes, but in those 60s and 70s eyes, he could elicit a crowd response like not many could. He didn't even come back in the 80s where I've watched all that stuff from a weekly basis. He that star power and that presence draws the best out of the Macho Man. It draws the best out of Roddy Piper and really helped those guys get grounded, especially the Macho Man, and have him propel into the 80s and the 90s. Macho Man was kind of floating a little bit until he got, his hands on Bruno Sammartino. And, I personally think Triple H would put Bruno on a list like this above himself as well. So I just want to kind of give Bruno his flowers without kind of getting like too in the weeds, too nerdy. And I felt that his name should be just kind of presented as well.
No, I feel you. When it comes to Bruno, for me, I've always said I don't care who gets good, whose peak is great. To me, Bruno was like one of the only guys I keep locked top 20 because when the era that he was coming up in the territories, there wasn't that guy in professional wrestling. Like there you had your Von Erichs, you had Flair coming up and all this stuff. Like there wasn't that guy. But when Bruno reached his peak, he became that guy. He became that guy and ran with it without a blueprint. Nobody showed him the way on how to be the biggest attraction in professional wrestling in that time frame. But Bruno took it, ran with it, and created the blueprint for guys we see like Hogan, Cena, Cody, Roman, and all that. So, yeah, Bruno is one of the only guys that's locked top 20 to me for what he did. I don't care who becomes good 30 years from now. He's not moving.
Yeah.
He's built.
All right, chat. Let us know in the chat who you guys think won the debate. Top team is for Triple H being top 10. Bottom team is for Triple H not in the top 10. We're just talking WWE wise, by the way. Let us know.
And choose on based who you think won the debate, not who you
It's
agree
over.
with.
I thought we were still cooking. It's all right. Go on.
Yeah, one of the guys has to
We're
dip.
still
So
going?
I know it's all good.
We all
we're cool.
friends here.
Of course,
We
of
all
course.
friends?
Yeah, all of us but
We all
Mo.
gang here, man.
Wait, it turned into a
We
Brock
are.
Lesnar-
We already did.
It turned into a Brock Lesnar debate, and
I've been wanting to slander that man for a while because I see him in too many. He gets too much praise for a lot of crap. You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to tell y'all that man Randy Orton, that man, he hanging by a thread. I'm trying to tell y'all this, man. Trying to tell y'all.
Wait, Malik, you can put up a poll in the chat if you
Yeah.
go on YouTube Studio.
Oh, I got to do it on YouTube Studio.
On like the computer, yeah.
Oh, I got to do it on the computer. I don't know how to do that. Yeah.
Oh,
It seems like
this
there's a
man
general
top
consensus,
team.
yeah.
But,
Top team, Triple H top 10. Somebody said bottom. HA's top team. Close but top.
Nate, you know I love you, right?
Man. We gonna
What I tell you last week, though?
We gonna let we gonna let the chat. We're gonna let the chat still decide. They still letting him in. We're gonna let it go for a little bit. You know what I'm
Top
saying?
team for sure.
It's time for a comeback. You know how LeBron did in 2016. It's time for a comeback.
Chat, what did Bianca do in black and
You
gold?
asking for a 4-0 comeback? No, boy.
Undefeated.
Come on, man.
Oh,
Wait.
man.
Nate trying to make a 4-0 comeback, bro. Or 4-1, my bad.
Sharing some of the comments right here. Hold on.
We'll let it go 109. We'll let it go to 109, and we just gonna
That's
we
me.
gonna
Yeah,
see
you
we gonna see what happens.
Catch up?
Yeah, we go.
Okay.
I think we got about 20 seconds to catch up, y'all. We got
Okay,
20
yeah,
seconds
right.
to catch up. I think it's okay. I
He
think
said 20 seconds.
I think we
My lord.
got 10 seconds, y'all. I think we can do it, man.
Yeah, you think we got a chance?
I think we got a
Borderline
chance.
Top 10, I probably agree with that.
I think we got a chance.
Borderline top 10 is
God damn it.
what I would align with most.
Well, I guess that's it, bro.
Randy, top 5 is people
Ah.
like you.
We got one vote for bottom.
People
What's
like
that
you.
supposed to be?
God damn
Get
it.
on the pod.
This is
Pick 6 Ringo, get on the
God
pod.
damn. This is what happens when you invite
Top
other people
5.
to your fucking show. Like fucking people who think they're fucking bigger and better than you, bro. Fuck up your shit.
Oh wow. Whoa. Wow.
Oh,
I'm blaming you, bro. Why, Jared, bro? You, yes,
What
you.
the, what the fuck I do? What did I do?
We lost because of you. Ryan was
have a
equipped and
mid-off,
everything, and then you came in because you fucking probably thought you had something better to do. Probably, you know.
Is that right? Okay.
That is right.
Oh,
That
wow.
is right, bro.
We're still a team.
God.
We're still a team, guys.
We're not a team. I'm team No Name Wrestling. This guy's fucking vibe or
Listen,
some
all right,
shit.
how about that? All right, listen. Next time you want to have one of these debates, I'll have my squad with me. All right, because listen, I came here alone.
Oh,
I came here by myself. All right, we could fight everybody now. All right, because we're gonna get on your
Hey.
ass next time.
Man,
Okay,
let's fucking do it. I
put
hear.
the gun
I
on
know
me, man.
BD in the other room. Tell him.
I will.
Tell
No, I
him.
will.
Bring
No,
everybody.
trust me, I will.
Bring everybody.
Trust me, I will.
We gonna squabble up. All right.
Okay.
I bet.
Squabble up, man. Better bring
Shout out
the
Kendrick.
smoke, bro. So I gotta say, we got two people on here that's not here today. So you know, this ain't the only edition.
We fully
There's only
equipped.
4 of us.
you thought I was bad. You didn't meet Thesis statement. G.
Durag J,
Oh,
bro.
don't get me started
Durag
with
J,
G.
I'm telling you, man. Durag.
Don't get me started with G on yeast in the bread left and right.
Yeah.
You thought I was bad. You didn't meet Yapping G.
Oh Lord. Oh
All
God.
right, small Afro. If you have to
Yeah,
bounce,
Big G.
you can go ahead and bounce if you got to leave, man.
Hey, I
Make sure you guys
appreciate
give him a
y'all.
follow. If you guys don't follow his stuff, Vibe channel, go check them guys out, man. We'll definitely have you guys back on the pod sometime if you guys can make it. We'll figure it out.
Absolutely. And hey, this was fun, y'all. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
All
Even though you cost us the shit, it was still
You know
good.
what? We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Wow.
Oh, trust me, we'll talk about it. All right.
All right, bet.
Y'all tune
Bet.
in.
I mean, you kind of not
I
wrong.
know.
you know. Talk about me. All right, guys. We'll talk some wrestling for things going on right now. A lot of things been happening right here. That's actually a good point. Somebody brought up the Bianca stuff. I definitely want to talk about that. So we can dive into that aspect. Who? Oh, Jay's not here today, man. Jay's not here. Anybody else think it was Bianca? Who else was voted before that happened? Lewis said it was Bianca. Ryan, who'd you have attacking Jay? Did you say it was Bianca or Naomi?
I thought it'd be a Naomi, but I'm not ruling out that Bianca is kind of playing into it as well.
So you still kind of
I agree with him.
I still think she didn't
No.
call somehow.
That's what I thought.
Man, that actor was so.
I think
Yeah.
Bianca set it up.
No.
I think Bianca.
I don't think she set it up. I think what I do think what's gonna happen, I think everything Naomi said, Bianca's gonna throw that right back at Jay when they start feuding. I think Naomi just planted a seed in Bianca's head.
To tell you what I see happening now, why they have this triple threat. This is why I think the triple threat is happening now at Mania. I think they're about to set up a feud between Io and Rhea, which could be really good for Rhea because they have a story there where they were telling on Raw that Rhea has never beaten Io in a one-on-one match, in a big high-profile match. I think Io retains at Mania, but I think Naomi is making sure Bianca doesn't win that title at Mania. I think she's, after what we just saw too, no, she's not about to let her win that strap, bro. I think Naomi is going to cost Bianca the match, which is going to end her undefeated streak at Mania, which is then going to set up longevity for her. Because if you watch that segment, Bianca basically left her high and dry. Like, I'm done with you. It's over with now. And Naomi.
You think Io retains?
Yeah, I think Io retains.
I
think Io retains at Mania. I think Io retains, and they're going to set up a feud with her and Rhea. And I think Naomi's going to make sure Bianca doesn't win at WrestleMania. Because they're all kind of tied into the story with Jade and everything. That's why I don't think Bianca did it. That's why I think they're going to go in that particular direction of how they're setting up the triple threat now. So that's what I see happening now for WrestleMania.
I agree that Io wins. I feel that they're saving that because the biggest match is Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair from a presentation standpoint. I think we all agree with that, but I think that they're prolonging that to maybe, I don't know, SummerSlam or even next year.
As they should.
I would do it.
As they
year.
should. They need to build that. That shit needs to be teased. They didn't even tease it once. That's why when she won it, I was like,
stop prolonging. Stop prolonging it though.
Oh yeah, no. They need to let us know, like, no, this is where we're going.
But I think they set it up pretty smart because there was a lot of confusion during this build. I think a lot of people were flaming, a lot of people in the creative, like we didn't know what was going on, but it was a very strategic aspect of how they did it. Io didn't qualify for the chamber. You guys remember? A lot of us were like, Io not in the chamber. What is going on here, right? What's happening with this? And then even when she didn't qualify, I was thinking like, oh, maybe they'll have like a last minute battle royal or something where she qualified. They didn't even, and they confirmed that wasn't even happening. So I'm like, oh, she really not in the chamber though. That's kind of crazy. But then they set up the world title match. I'm like, okay. That's fair. You know, Rhea accidentally cost her the match. She didn't mean to do it. And Rhea was like, because I messed up, I'm going to give you a shot at the world championship. It's the right thing to do. But then Io won. And I was like, ooh, that's mad interesting because I was not expecting Io to win the championship. But then after thinking about the aspects, and then after what we saw on SmackDown, I feel like Io is definitely going to retain at Mania, and they're going to set up a feud between Rhea and Io, and Naomi is going to cost Bianca that match so she doesn't win to help her feud with Jade and Naomi as well. Because a lot of us been the main thing that really holds back Rhea from reaching those echelon conversations to me is she has yet to have that one feud and one championship reign that submits her. You know what I mean? Because she's good in ring. She can cut promos. She got a character. She's popular. She's checking off all the other boxes. She just doesn't have that championship reign and feud that really puts her like in the Bianca, Becky stratosphere where we all can point out Bianca has a reign that stands out. Becky has a reign that stands out. Like she's just missing that. And I think the Io feud could really be that for her. I mean, if it's done right by creative, but that they have a great story there to tell. I didn't even know Rhea has never been Io until they brought that up on Raw in the story. I'm like, oh, that's an easy story to tell. Like Rhea has a kryptonite, you know, and she has somebody that she has to overcome. So I think that's the story that could really help put Rhea in those type of categories, which I think is why Io is going to retain and they're going to go in that direction.
Lewis, you might want to look at the chat.
You might say, you have my Via posted in the closet, bro? Crazy.
Is he sleeping?
Oh, he's frozen.
Yeah, I know.
He's checking on his poster.
Ryan, let me ask you. So, Ryan, since you weren't on the channel last week, how did you feel about the Cena heel turn? What did you think was going to happen before the Chamber? Who did you have winning, and then what did you think about after what you saw?
Well, it's historical, right? It's fucking awesome to be frank, and you feel that something was definitely up because they released that like The Rock was going to be third, right? But they showed a video package in the rundown. And then they presented him last after the Chamber. So something was up. You could have been Punk, could have been. Yeah, I had Punk, Drew, or Cena were kind of like the ones because I never thought Cody would kind of give him his soul, right, or whatever. I didn't think he was going to align himself with him. So when Drew was eliminated right away, you're like, all right, well, it's going to be Cody. I mean, it's going to be Cody versus Punk or Cena at WrestleMania with The Rock in either one's corner, just because how they kind of laid it all out. And I just thought it was so well when they got to it. I thought Cena was great in the Elimination Chamber just because the Cena coming back, he's so quirky, right? But I think he was playing into it, leading up to all that, right? Because that's probably his biggest downfall when he's so quirky and dorky. I kind of hate that personally, but whatever, right? Like he's still top 10 all time. We're not that's maybe for another day, but
I have him as number one.
Yeah. Oh no, he's top 5 for sure in my opinion. But yeah. He leading in, he just wasn't John. He wasn't feeling like John Cena of that an all-time great, a Mount Rushmore kind of guy, and I think that played into him turning as well. I like how they did it as well. The go fuck yourself was like surprising. It was fantastic. It was just like holy shit, and then you totally forgot about it because how impactful that angle was. I just thought it was a great piece of business, and now WrestleMania is cooking because before. Cody versus Cena, face versus face, legacy versus legacy. Like, it's fine. But now I feel like they got something extremely well going on here.
So do you think, because we talked about it last week on the pod, based off where we're at now, where the story's at currently, do you feel like John Cena has to win at Mania and then Cody gets it back later on? Or do you feel like it doesn't matter?
I feel like it doesn't matter. I think he could win. If gun to my head, I think Cody wins. Right. And I think that the redemption of John Cena in his final year is him redeeming himself as like himself, never giving up on himself. He had a side road in his journey, but to his core, hustle, loyalty, respect, John Cena should do it as a babyface to break the record, in my opinion.
Yeah. So you think Cena loses and then he's going to go on like a redemption of like trying to find who he was before the end of the year, like he retires.
He joined up with The Rock because he was insecure. He hasn't won in 2,000 days. He finds himself along that journey because with The Rock ain't it, right? He just went with The Rock to try to find himself. Now he can find himself on this journey to build momentum at the end of the year where he wins. That's how I would look at it.
No, you broke it down. That's a good way to break it down. I haven't thought about that.
Yeah, I see that story as well. I just feel like them pulling what is the biggest heel turn in that company's history. I just feel like it falls flat on his face if John Cena did all that just to lose anyway. And there's a lot of people as well that really want to see him get that 17. I feel like this story has really made it so that it just feels right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and to think about it too, I mean, I get a lot of people would want to see him win the title as a babyface, but he's never been a world champion as a heel. Like, what does that even look
It would
like?
have to
That's
be a
also
lane
true.
where it's interesting. for
Yeah,
sure.
like what does that even look like? We don't even
Yeah.
know. This is the only opportunity they have to make it happen. And I feel like the story you're telling with Cena, which makes sense, honestly, if they went that direction, I could understand that. But I feel like Cody has a better story to tell if he loses, because we've already seen Cody go on the redemption arc, right? When he lost at 39, he had to fight a whole year to get back to Roman, and then it almost got taken away from him by The Rock, literally, and then had to literally push that aside and had to just fight through all a bunch of shenanigans and finally finish the story. He's been champ for a year now, and if he gets screwed at Mania by The Rock and Cena, I think Cody now goes on his revenge arc where now he's out to seek blood. Like, y'all screwed me out of the championship, and now I have to. Of course, The Rock is going to make him jump through hoops and obstacles to try to get the championship back and everything. Like, I feel like that's going to be Cody's story to tell. Is now he's going on this revenge arc to get the championship back, because I don't see Cena holding it for long. Maybe to SummerSlam at best, but I think Cody would get it back at SummerSlam, which could make him a bigger babyface. Like, I don't think people can truly understand Cody's babyface arc for the people who just hate on him. Like, he's such a beloved babyface with a type of babyface that people usually perceive as corny. He's got two of the biggest stars ever to turn heel in his storylines, where the people are still siding with Cody. They had The Rock and Roman Reigns right there in front of them, which is a dream match people have been waiting to see for years, and the fans chose Cody Rhodes over that match at that particular time. And John Cena, who was the ultimate good guy for years, never turned heel. I'm not that guy. Turned heel to help propel up Cody Rhodes more as a babyface, and they're still on Cody's side. I think people have to really process of how much this guy's babyface arc truly is going to be legendary when it's all said and done. Like, the fact that it's working even this long, I don't know if people really look at if you look at the years Cody's been back in WWE, it's not like they haven't pushed him to the max. This guy has been treated very well since coming back, and he's got a proper push that most of the IWC / like everybody for it. Oh, he's winning too many matches. Oh, he barely loses.
Uh-oh. Muted.
He just went mute.
There's something different about Cody when it comes to that aspect, though. Like, all the people who tax, people for long championship reigns and everything that they want to tax somebody for, something is different about Cody, why people just embrace and accept him. And I think it's because of his journey. And if he gets screwed by The Rock, I think that adds more to his journey, because that was The Rock's initial plan last year, right? Was to prevent Cody from finishing the story. He obviously got to do it. And then this year, we were all confused when he's buddy with Cody. Like, why are they just friends? What's going on? But it really was like a master plan where The Rock was playing, chess, and, Cody playing checkers type stuff. Like, now you think we're buddies, but wait till what happens and you see what I got planned for you. I'll make sure I'm taking that title from you at WrestleMania, but not really doing it himself, because a lot of us, I think, also talked about, the possibility of The Rock becoming champion. We're like, we don't want to see that. That's the last thing we want to see. But now, if The Rock is going to play a piece to taking the title from Cody, and they have Cena do it as a heel, I mean, I think that works tremendously. But the way you broke it down, if Cena's going to go, because I see Cena ending the year on babyface. I don't think he's going to be heel the entire time. I think his last match, he's going to have some type of moment where he turns back into babyface Cena again. You know what I mean? Like, where the fans could love him again. But if Cena does lose and he does kind of go on that journey where he's doesn't know who he is anymore. I don't know who I am anymore. I'm not the same guy. I had to figure out some things. If they go that route, I could see it. But I feel like with the momentum they have right now, to have Cena win in that fashion by screwing Cody, to see that visual of The Rock in the background with John Cena holding up the title as a heel, I mean, that could be something monumental.
Mhm. And it would play, even if he goes off back to babyface, it would play him turning. He could easily justify it was like, I haven't won in 2,000 days. I'm a little insecure. And I took that gesture from The Rock to kind of find myself and make it easy. I've always grinded, but I've earned the 17. I'm going to win it because, I've earned a way to make a cheap way to get there as well. And I found myself again, and then he just goes on his hustle, loyalty, respect kind of thing.
Act of desperation. Cena was desperate, because even if you look at the
time's running out, he's desperate for sure.
If you look at the promo he cut after the Rumble, I mean, he basically kind of lined it up like, I ain't got much time left. I don't need to qualify for the chamber. I'm in it because I can be in it. You know what I mean? I'm going to win it. And he said that it's best for business for him to become the 17-time world champion. And I look at this as like, I don't know if it's Cena really selling his soul. I think he aligned himself with Rock because Cena is a real company guy. And he's convinced himself now in his mind to win the 17th title is what I need to do. And I got to do it. Whatever I got to take is what I got to do. I came back and I was really going to have this retirement tour and shake hands with people and be buddy-buddy. But now he's realizing it's not what's best for business right now. What's best for the business, for the company that I've dedicated my whole life to and I love, is for me to win the 17th World Championship. And aligning myself with The Rock just puts me in easy access to make sure I accomplish that goal. So I kind of look at it from that aspect too. Like, hasn't won a big match and however, Cena know he's older, he's past his prime, and he knows Cody's miles ahead of him right now. Cody's at the peak of his career. And Cena's been there. Yeah. I've been at that level before. Yeah. So I got to do whatever it takes now to make sure that I get the 17th championship because it's good for the company. So it's going to be interesting to see what direction they go to. I don't know if there's really a wrong direction. I guess it would just depend on what they do afterwards, honestly. Like if they had Cena lose, I got to see what it looks like after. If they go in the direction you're talking about, okay, I could see that, aspect. If Cody doesn't win, got to see what they do afterwards. I would assume that, they're going to go in the revenge arc, but I think they have a lot of things planned out ahead of time that we weren't seeing, in front of us at that time frame that just kind of went on behind the scenes. So that was a good aspect. One thing I want to ask you guys too, it seems like we're going to get Roman, Punk, and Seth at Mania, right? The triple threat.
Seems like
a lot of people, though, to my surprise, they're not feeling it. They're not rocking with it. Maybe they feel like there's no stipulation to it or something. For me,
and there probably will be.
And I think there might be something added to it, but when I'm looking at I don't see what's not to like here, bro. There's this Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins, and all in the same match we're talking about here. And they all
is crazy.
And they all have a story that's been tied together for a while. Like the story has been right there in front of us. You know what I mean? Like
it's layers too. Yeah.
Yeah, CM Punk despises Seth Rollins despises CM Punk. Roman Reigns hates Seth Rollins with his guts. And then Paul Heyman being a CM Punk guy, but also a Roman Reigns acknowledger. I mean, that kind of plays a factor too. Heyman still owes Punk a favor. Like, I get, yes, this is
and Punk is responsible for the Shield.
That plays a factor into it as well. And they all want the top spot, right? They all want to be the guy. They all are fighting to be the number one. So I understand, yes, this match is big enough to be a championship match. Of course, this could be the main event of WrestleMania for we're talking about like the legit main event. But,
like too.
I mean, how do you guys feel?
I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to go to James's point in the comments where he said a random hatred triple threat with no stakes doesn't move me. I'm low key looking at this as whoever wins this triple threat, they're gonna get a title match.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
There's no way you don't give them a title match at SummerSlam. Yeah. There's no way. I think that's the move for SummerSlam. Whoever wins a triple threat match, they're next in line for the big show. That's how I feel.
Well, there's King of the Ring if they still do that this year.
Oh yeah.
I look at it as if they do this triple threat, this could. If we're looking at, I look at like whoever wins this match is going to be the next challenger for Cena or Cody. That's how I see it. Like if Cena wins, him and Punk could be right there. They can revisit that feud. And what we saw after the Chamber, the promo that Punk cut, it's all lined up right there. So. That's how I'm looking at it. But like, I get, even if there's no stipulation, the story adds up for it to happen at Mania. Like, this is all storytelling at the end of the day. It's not like they just threw this match together. All right, you guys are three of the biggest stars ever. Go have a match at WrestleMania. They've been telling this pretty much since War Games, if we're being honest.
And with the triple threat, neither one of those individual stories would blow off. It would just continue them all.
Yeah. Can I say
and
something?
They've also... Yeah.
Let me say this too. A lot of people in the chat are saying Punk and Roman have no tension. The tension between Punk and Roman was when all three guys got eliminated from the Royal Rumble, and when Roman
connection cut out.
Oh man! Well, there was a point adding on to what he was going to say.
So basically, what I'm saying is the tension between Roman and Punk is the reason why Roman got embarrassed at the Royal Rumble, why he got his head fucking caved in. That's why he's angry at Punk. Because he thought since they teamed together at War Games that they was cool, that Punk wouldn't do shit. But Punk is a focal reason on why he got embarrassed. If he doesn't focus on Punk, he doesn't get his head stomped in. That's the tension.
And there's also the thing with Punk and Roman, how for years after the CM Punk Colt Cabana podcast, like Roman's talked about on interviews as well, like that kind of, made me get painted in a bad light with the fan base and made it harder for me to elevate. Yeah. So there's also
Great point as well.
aspect that fans know about.
Yeah.
Also, the tension between Punk and Roman, too. I look at it going back to War Games. Like, Roman Reigns didn't want CM Punk in that match. He didn't want him anywhere in that match, bro. He was not feeling that at all. Paul Heyman had to convince him that you're gonna need him, bro. And CM Punk didn't want to be a part of it either. But he's like, I look out for you, Heyman. I'm doing this for you. I'm not doing this for Roman. I'm doing this for you, bro, because you're my guy. You need a favor, I got you, but you're gonna owe me one back. But if it was up to Roman Reigns, CM Punk would have never even touched that match. He'd never even been in it to begin with. So.
They
would have went 5-on-4 in that bitch. You feel me? Like we just gonna have to go one man down in here. So,
actually, can I ask a question? If you guys, if you could only make a single match out of those three, which one would you guys prefer?
Roman Seth.
At Mania?
Yeah, I think you can make a case for all three.
After last year, I think Roman Seth.
That's my gut too, as well. Timing wise, anyways.
I put Punk in the WWE title match.
I don't care what we get. I just want to watch it.
6 weeks.
That's fair. No, I was one of those people like kind of against the triple threat, using the same argument as the people in the chat. But like looking more at it, there's a lot of tension between all three, and there's so many layers to be. I was just
like, pivot.
Do it. I mean, I prefer Roman and Seth, but I'm like, just do it. That's fine.
Because then if they go Roman Seth, what is it? Punk and Logan Paul?
I mean, you could use you can have Punk use his favor to get into the WWE title match somehow.
So did we
mention Punk? Did we
Something
mention
like
Punk
that.
is the reason why the Shield individually, when they were the Shield, got like their individual breakthroughs when they had the feud with Punk? They each had their one-on-one.
Oh yeah.
And Roman was the only one that was able to beat Punk.
And also, you could also bring up the fact that Punk didn't even want Roman at first. He wanted Cassius Ohno or Chris Hero.
Yeah.
He'd be like, you didn't even want me in the first place. Like you and now once you left the company, you bashed me. Like you never liked me. Like I let it slide with War Games because the wise man and all that. But you don't like me, and I never liked you. Like you can build up that.
Punk was, if you look at it how it aligns, Punk was the reason the Shield was a thing, and Seth is the reason it died. Like it's all literally within that story right there. And Roman has just played the middle guy, like was never supposed to be in it, was in it, excelled, and then was a part of was the main guy who took the first shot, from that chair, So it all just ties in together as part of the story. Something else somebody brought in the chat. It was about Tiffany and Charlotte, about the build. Listen, I think we all know that the Charlotte builds for WrestleMania are never going to be good. I mean, they're never really that good. It's the match we all looking forward to itself. It's when the bell rings. That's what I'm most excited for. So I'm already looking. Go ahead.
For WrestleMania, she's a when will the bell ring wrestler when it comes to WrestleMania.
Yeah, for me, it's like I've already kind of looked past the build. For me, I'm just looking forward to the match itself. Like, just give me to the.
People tell me she's the GOAT, though.
To get me to the match. Give me to the match. That's all I need to see. The build, I don't expect the build to be great, just because if you look at Charlotte's past builds at WrestleMania, they've never really been that great. And the best one she probably had was probably the Becky and Ronda build. And that match didn't really live up to the potential, you know what I mean? But the build was cool. It didn't need her. But it was still cool though. The match was still the build was still cool. I like the last Raw they had when they all fought back and they had the cops come in.
That was cool.
That was good. So I mean, she's had some bad builds, some good matches though. So the matches
for sure.
Okay,
that's the problem with Charlotte. Like she'll always deliver in the ring, but like she does not get me invested in anything she does because she refuses to evolve past I'm the queen, I win titles.
That's why people were booing her when she came back. And she tried to tell the sob story. It's like, nigga, we're not trying to hear that. We're not trying to hear that.
We don't care. We don't care. You've done nothing to make me feel sympathy for you. And then like people be like, oh, Becky, all she does is the man, this. At least we got a break with big time Bex. At least we got a break. And when she comes back, she doesn't even want to do the man gimmick anymore. So clearly she can evolve her character.
We see her at Mania?
Becky?
Yeah.
No.
I thought she was gonna come
Maybe
out
the Raw
for some
after
reason.
Mania.
There was like
Maybe
an
the
inkling in my head. I thought she was gonna come out after her
What the
Lyra's
fuck she
match
want?
with
They need her
Ivy.
back.
That's what I thought she was gonna do, but she didn't. So I don't know now.
Yeah.
I don't think people
All right,
really
I got-
realize it's important. Go ahead, no.
I got a question. We talked about this briefly in the chat, in the group chat. Is Triple H a WrestleMania season merchant?
WrestleMania season merchant? Probably.
I think he is.
That's his best work.
Because listen. How the fuck
Well, besides Shawn Michaels.
do you have an entire women's roster, and the only time you want to cook something outside the title picture is WrestleMania season? You have all these women that you could have done this with the undercard of the women's division. It ain't got to be as big. You don't have to have this big cinematic segment. I'm not expecting freaking Lyra Valkyria and Dakota Kai to have a freaking cinematic segment, but you could have had a nice feud. You could have had several nice feuds, and you tried with Pure Fusion Collective. I'll give them credit for trying. Clearly, it didn't work. But you just look at that, and then you just look at everything else that goes around. The only thing that really be cooking is the main event, and sometimes even that is like, all right, like. But WrestleMania comes around, and I understand WrestleMania is the time you have the best feuds, the best stories. I know a lot of the WWE meat writers want to say that, and you should. That's when most people are watching. But year-round, if you're telling me that you can't cook up a good mid-card story year-round, and then all of a sudden WrestleMania comes around, I guess we're going to put these people on TV. Jade and Bianca go and have a great women's segment. How many women's segments have we seen like that the past year?
None.
Zero. Even with Liv and Rhea Ripley, which was a blood feud. Like, literally, like, they're fighting over a man. You know how that shit gets. You know how when you fighting over a partner, you know how that gets. Bro, that thing was good for like a month. And then it just
You be fighting over partners, bro.
and then went down the drain. You telling me you couldn't have you telling me that Rhea and Dom couldn't have had like this big cinematic segment where Rhea actually shows vulnerability? Like, hey, like, I thought we were like the dynamic duo, and now you left me for someone. Like, we saw none of that. Rhea and Liv have a past. They used to be buddies. And Liv can't like just go out and just be like, I hate you because you betrayed me. Like, we didn't see any of that. And that was the world title picture. But now all of a sudden WrestleMania comes around. Now we got to start cooking. Not saying that your best storyline shouldn't be reserved for Mania, because they should, but you literally had a layup with Rhea and Liv. You had so much history. You had so much potential. Liv's
It started good.
yeah, and Liv's not terrible on the mic. Liv's not terrible. I think if it comes to her and Rhea, they're comfortable enough with each other. I think they could have produced a pretty damn good segment. They were cooking before SummerSlam. They had some great segments, but after, like, it just lacked so much emotion. It just felt like we were circling the drain.
They fumbled on that.
They fumbled on it super hard.
And they're showing what's crazy now. You brought up the Rhea, showing emotion as far as like having like some type of emotion. They're just now starting to show that just because she lost to Io. Like, if you watched, she had a really good promo on like WWE's YouTube, like after the show backstage and everything, and she was basically like broken, like destroyed, like I messed up, like I have no friends, I'm lonely, like she feels isolated right now. Like, they're giving her emotion with her gimmick. I really felt like the build to SummerSlam was really good. That was one of the best things they had going on Raw. After SummerSlam, though, it's just like it just poof up in the air. Like, it just I don't know what they had in mind. They lacked when I felt like Rhea should have shown some type of vulnerability of her losing Dom, and then now Liv has succeeded. She accomplished the goal. Like, she took her man, she took the title, and she got her revenge. Like, she accomplished everything that she said she was going to do that Rhea thought wasn't possible because she's Rhea Bloody Ripley, right? Like, I feel like they really missed out on Rhea having that vulnerability with her character, which I know a lot of people really taxed her because they feel like they were making her too dominant when she was, coming after the Judgment Day and looking dominant, which I felt like that was going to happen. That's going to be a part of who Rhea is because they want to make her look like an opposing threat. But I feel like they should have got her there by having that anger and frustration, by having her showing the vulnerability first, like just being like just salty, like, damn, I'm depressed. You know what I mean? Like, I lost the title, lost the Judgment Day. I got nothing now besides Damian Priest at that point, and he was still fighting for his life too. So it's like it's just me and him. So I feel like they did kind of miss out on that. But WrestleMania merchant, it's not a crazy thing to say because he does build really good stuff around Mania time. And I think that's probably what they're looking for in the product right now, because when Triple H gives us really good high stuff, it's really good. It's really, really good stuff. And I think he's looking at that like, listen, when I give y'all some shit that's up here, y'all gonna be talking about it for a long time, like last year, the year before. The bad stuff is gonna be bad, but it's not gonna be like 2019 type bad. You know what I mean? Like we're not gonna be discriminating it forever. So I think that's how they're looking at it. Like they feel like when the good is really good, it's so high, it's all over social media, it's talked about, it's pure cinema. That's what the people are calling it nowadays. So I feel like that's how they're kind of laying into it, honestly, which is kind of a little bit of a detriment to everything else, because after Mania, they'll kind of be back to the erasing board, and it's like the restart, you know. So they'll kind of be back to figuring things out again. And I'm not saying that it still won't be good, but the road to WrestleMania should always be an exciting time because it's WrestleMania. You know, it's the most important show of the year. So he does kind of get taxed a little bit for being a Mania merchant. I want to see more consistency with this throughout the year. I'm not saying that every single show is going to be great and every PLE is going to be top notch, but I would like to see more consistency with this, especially for the women, bro. When I saw Bianca and Naomi do, I'm like, bro, this is one of the best segments the women have ever had in the company's history. And this storyline is actually intriguing. And if they fuck this up somehow, it's really going to be depressing to come back and say, you messed it up again.
You see,
They're probably
you
going
see
to
your
have the most
issues
women
with that.
that they have.
Go ahead.
I said they're probably coming out of Mania. They're going to have a lot of fresh women coming out of Mania with momentum that they kind of haven't had in years past. So perhaps that sets him up to have that success, because he can write all the stories he wants. If these girls have no juice going into him, which is partially his fault in a way, it's going to be what it is, and probably mid as like he was suspected before. But he's going to have girls coming out with momentum, with new momentum, fresh momentum as well. Go ahead, Lewis. My bad.
No, you're good. No, Nate has said this time and time again. What I personally want to see from Triple H is stop waiting so long to pull the trigger on somebody, because he's so fucking stubborn. Like, I will always go back to it. The fact that Chad Gable was an Intercontinental Champion as both a babyface or a heel, he had two opportunities. It's fucking crazy. The fact that he waited, the fact that he had to create a whole new championship for Chelsea Green is crazy. It's crazy to me. Like, he holds back on pulling the trigger when it's right, and then there's situations where he doesn't pull the trigger at all, or he pulls the trigger too late, and it's like, what the fuck? Like,
look at Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Nigga still hasn't. It's been over a year.
Finn Balor.
Why are they still a team?
I know Vince was there,
Jesus.
but Finn Balor. Like,
How did Shawn Michaels? How did Shawn Michaels do a much better job at booking that story than Triple H has in a year? Like, he actually told
he
some
doesn't care about it
dissension.
anymore. That's why he gave up on it.
Yeah, like Malik said, he don't care about it a little bit, but they feel like such bigger stars down in NXT. It's easier to present.
Yeah,
it's kind of.
I honestly, if they wanted to put them two back down there, I'd much rather see them.
Might as well.
I kind of dig Theory. I think his potential is big if they go with him, but I think
should be a babyface.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to get to.
But
I don't know if he had the backing to get the push as a babyface from the fans or whatever. But I think he has the intangibles.
Yeah, I feel like
he does.
When you go to the pull the trigger, waiting can be a risk. Not everybody's going to be like Jey Uso. You know what I mean? Like when you wait, and then it finally pulls off.
Or LA Knight. LA Knight was
lucky. Like some people can get lucky with that. Like Jey Uso lost a lot of big matches in the span of 2 years, but the people they didn't give up on him. They stood by him. You know what I mean? That's not gonna happen with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like Braun Strowman was hot. Once he got cooked by Brock Lesnar after the third time, that was it for them. Fans was like, we don't care no more, bro. Y'all had the chance and y'all messed it up.
It's like you said though, with the risk. Like, all right, Chad Gable versus Gunther or whatever. He's a babyface. He's hot. People want to see him win the title. Understand that he's not believable to beat Gunther, right? Then you have him turn heel on Sami Zayn. Why doesn't he win the title at Clash at the Castle? And that was the weekend where Chad Gable was also a free agent and he just signed his extension. Why not award him? He had a huge peak as a babyface. He had people believe that he could beat Gunther in a wrestling match. You turn him heel. Now people want to see him beat Sami because he's believable more to beat Sami than he is Gunther. And you missed out twice. And what has Chad Gable done since? He's losing to fucking luchadors.
Yeah. I was one of the people that came up on here and said, I don't know what they're gonna do with Chad Gable because I never thought he was gonna be Gunther. Never one of the people that thought that he was gonna be Gunther. And even after Sammy beat Gunther, just thinking about it in my mind, I'm like, okay, Sammy beat Gunther, but Chad couldn't beat Gunther. I don't think they're gonna have Sammy lose to Chad because Chad couldn't beat Gunther, but Sammy could beat Gunther, and Gunther barely loses matches. You know what I mean? Like that's when you beat somebody like that, that puts you on a higher pedestal. So that's how I was thinking about it in my mind. Like, how can he beat Sammy, but he couldn't beat Gunther, but Sammy beat Gunther? That doesn't make sense in my mind. So I never thought he was gonna win that was kind of confusing to me. Like, I don't know if he's actually gonna win it just because of how that's lining up. But I do think they kind of messed it up though. Like, they had a really good story there to tell with Chad and his kids and stuff. Man never got redemption for his children, bro. Talked about it all the time. My kids.
Pass that over to Sammy.
Yeah, this baby there, Sammy.
Yeah. They had him train Sammy for his match. Like that's so.
And then Sammy's
lame.
wife was there with his
That's
kids.
so-
It turned out bad for him.
Dude, it's so lame. But he waits too long.
Yeah, they waited too long for this. Ryan, so what are your thoughts about Jey Uso and Gunther? What do you feel? How do you feel about Gunther's reign? And then what do you think the correct thing to do at WrestleMania between the two?
I like both guys a lot, right? To the Sammy point last year, I don't like that Gunther lost to Sammy last year, and then he's presented to kind of copy that story again with the world title now at WrestleMania. Perhaps if they go with it and do it, I think Jay warrants it. I think he's kind of undeniable. Like, look at the love that he's getting. It's all undergrounding. I was fortunate enough to be at Detroit when he faced Roman, and just him coming out with that entrance, like the holy year,
I was
like
there
that
too.
made him. They kind of went out there and had a stinker, and he still continued that momentum, right? Like the match was fine, but it wasn't as big. Like, that match peaked at that entrance, and that entrance catapulted him to where he's at now. I thought it was weird to kind of fast forward a shitload to Saturday night's main event right before the Rumble. I thought it was weird that they were doing that there, but seeing him win at the Rumble, I was just like, okay, well, they wanted to present it one last time because he lost the IC at the end of the year, I think in 2024-ish or whatever, wherever, 2024, start of the year. Then he lost the finals of the King of the Ring or the semifinals of the King of the Ring. And then he lost the world title. So he's 0 for 3 against Gunther in big matches, all matches that were fantastic, by the way. So I'm a little worried that the bar is so high from a match quality standpoint that they won't reach that bar, because the first 3 were excellent. And then I think that Jay will and should win, but I feel that it might be a letdown because the match quality expectations so high because of the previous 3 that I don't know if it's lost on the shuffle from importantness when they get to WrestleMania. I'm a little worried about that for Jay. And again, I don't like them copycatting the story from Sammy with the IC the year before. So there's some negatives going in there, but overall, I think it should do gangbusters, and Jay should have success coming out of it. And I think Jay will win, as I kind of alluded to leading in.
Yeah, 2 points. So we've talked about on the pod before. Listen, a lot of people with the Jey Uso hate, bro. They gotta shut it down, man. At this point, his movement is undeniable.
Yeah.
Wrestling is really about finding a way to get over, no matter how you do it. You look at every star that people are gonna glaze or their favorites are gonna talk about. They all found a way to get over somehow. Jey Uso has reached that pinnacle. He found a way to get over, and the people like him. They rock with him. He's reached that pedestal where he now has a potential to be solidified as a main event guy, which nobody would have ever talked about, not even 2 years ago. Even last year, we weren't even talking about Jey Uso possibly being a world champion, like main event worthy guy. He's the most hottest superstar in the company right now. I feel like if he lost at this Mania, that would really like cook him. Like, we talked about him being cooked before, but he loses that Mania. I feel like that's really it for him. Like, that's really done. Like, you gotta pull the trigger.
I've seen someone say like, "Oh, I think this is for Gunther to like put him as like a top guy, like to really elevate him." I'm like, no, that's fucking terrible. Like, no, Gunther can get it back. He can get it back. If Jay loses, and I'm all for Gunther being like this big final boss. That's what he should be. But at the expense of Jey Uso and all this momentum, no, that'd be fucking awful. That would be terrible.
Jay earned it.
Yeah, we talked about pulling the trigger, bro. Like, if Jey Uso loses at WrestleMania, that would be like the equivalent of like if Daniel Bryan didn't win at WrestleMania 30. Like, can you imagine that? If Daniel Bryan didn't actually win at WrestleMania 30, imagine if Kofi Kingston didn't win at WrestleMania 35. You know how pissed people would have been? There's no coming back from that, bro. Like, so there are certain matches when you know that are lined up for certain people to win, and if you don't win those certain matches, that really could diminish and cook you. And you don't have to be a fan of Jey Uso. You don't have to like his wrestling style. You don't have to like his gimmick, and that's fine. But he found a way to get over. And majority of the fans, they like him. They rock with him. They have a superstar literally in the palm of their hands with Jey Uso. All they have to do is just have him win one match, and the rest is history. So I feel like the obvious move to do would to have Jey win. But to go to your point, Ryan, I kind of feel the same way about Gunther. I have not been feeling this world championship reign with Gunther, mainly towards like the second half of it. It started off really good. The Randy Orton stuff was good. After he lost to Cody, though, even the stuff with like him losing confidence in himself, okay, it's a little bit of a character arc, but then he found a way to kind of bounce back. Okay, that was cool. But for him to kind of be sacrificed for Jey, there is a story to tell there, and I think Gunther will be fine. I think Gunther is a Triple H guy. Gunther will forever be a Triple H guy. He'll be a world champion again. I see Gunther always being in a good spot with WWE as long as Triple H is running the ship. But it does kind of feel a little like a little weird to see Gunther in that position again, because it's like, damn, like, you know,
They're copying their homework again.
Yeah. It's just the world championship reign over the last couple of months hasn't been, I think, what we kind of expected him to be as champion coming off that IC title run. You know what I mean? Because we know he can be a great champion and he can have good presentation and good stories and good matches, but there's something different there with him as the world champion. It hasn't really worked compared to his mid-card title reign. So I think they kind of need a reset with him. Maybe him losing could be good, or they kind of give him another reset to get up to the higher echelon. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Gunther, because majority of his time in WWE, he's been a champion, whether it was NXT UK or the main roster. So him without a championship, maybe that could tell some different layers of his character aspect that we haven't seen. I don't know, but I do kind of see your point there with, you know, the sacrifice that Gunther has to make to kind of be in that position. He just feels like one of those guys that shouldn't be in that position.
Yeah. I'm curious what the journey would be. Honestly, he would be, not to like look way too hard in the future. He'd be on a short list as a guy that could potentially dethrone Cody once that time would come. I would put him on a short list as well with a few others. Yeah. So maybe he gets on that journey to lead to that, because like you said, his downfall kind of happened when he lost to Cody for that prestigious crown jewel ring, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe Gunther can win another King of the Ring for all we know, back to back. You know what I mean?
That'd be cool.
Maybe win another King of the Ring for all we know. So, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see the aspects of what they do with that. Now, there are other matches that we don't have announced for Mania that we kind of are feeling that are going to be announced, and like they're moving towards Logan Paul versus AJ Styles, which I'm cool with. I actually like that idea. Seems like they're moving with Priest and McIntyre. LA Knight just won the U.S. title back, which is a good thing leading into Mania.
Thank fuck.
Can I talk about that real quick?
God.
And it's not all the way his fault. It's not. But Shinsuke Nakamura, no matter what championship it is one one of the worst champions in company history.
Poor Doc.
I don't understand the point of like,
time, bro.
You gave Shinsuke a new character. Okay, cool. You had him win the championship, but then they didn't do anything with him after that. It's just like, why did you have just lose for what? Like, it didn't make any sense now. Long term doesn't make any sense. Like, I mean, whatever. He got it back though. So hold on. I want to go.
Not only that, but the United States division got significantly worse as soon as he became champion.
So who do we see him facing at Mania though? Multi-man match or something?
LA? Yeah. I think it fits better on a multi-man on SmackDown than Raw, right?
Yeah.
There's too many contenders for
on
SmackDown right now.
Miz or some other people in there too. You know, maybe like a
Andrade.
End it with Melo winning. Just end it with.
Hold on, I'm gonna go to Nate real quick. So hold on, Nate, you not feeling Drew and Damian Priest?
No, bro. Let me get on this bullshit, man. You already told this story last year, bro. They Priest lost or beat McIntyre Mania. They faced a Clash of the Castle. That's it. And now you're telling me they gotta face a fucking WrestleMania again. I don't want to see that shit. I want to see Drew with somebody new. I don't want to see him face fucking Damian Priest again.
Can you throw me a pass? Let me throw me a pass on this one. I'm personally. I've said this on Mo and I's podcast, Rated M podcast. Subscribe if you guys haven't. But I'm sick and fucking tired of Drew being the elevator. Can he get some love now? Can he get his due? Can he be a world champion again? Like Drew, it's a shame. He's doing the best work of his life, but it's to propel
he's
other
killing it.
people. And I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like Drew needs his due. Like he needs it. I'm sorry. It's bro. He got to be champion again. He has to be
It's long
champion.
overdue. I think he beats Priest at Mania. At least he should beat Priest at
I'd
Mania.
like for him to win King of the Ring personally. I know King of the Ring is used to propel other people. You know, I know it's used to build up stars. Like I would like if Braun Breaker won it, but if you don't got a plan for that fucking world title, give it to Drew. Let Drew do something with it.
This is a crazy
Agreed.
idea I thought about. Let's see how y'all feel about this. Let's see if y'all think I'm cooking or not. Let's say Cena wins at Mania,
Oh, no.
heel turn, right? Cody wins it back at SummerSlam. But how would y'all feel if Cody won it back at SummerSlam and Priest won Money in the Bank again, and then he cashed in on Cody right after he won, like taking it right away from him immediately? Like,
Why would we do
Say
that?
Priest.
because Cody
You
gets
say
his get back.
Priest?
He
Did you say Priest? Did
No,
you
I mean
say
Drew
Priest?
McIntyre.
you
Drew
said
McIntyre.
Oh,
Drew McIntyre.
Jeez.
Drew McIntyre.
My
Oh,
God.
okay. All right.
Drew
Oh
McIntyre.
my
All right, Drew
God.
McIntyre.
I
Hey,
think
hey,
that's-
he
I'm
really
on
gonna
your
get
side
the
again.
big-
Okay.
I'm on your side again.
No, Drew. Okay, so let me rephrase. Let me start again. Let's say Cena. Let's say Cena wins at Mania. He gets
Uh-huh.
the championship run as a heel. Cody has a fight all the way back, gets it at SummerSlam, and then Drew McIntyre wins the Money in the Bank again. But this time he's not stupid like he was last year. He buys his time perfectly. And then he cashes in at SummerSlam. Like we're all thinking Cody gets the big moment, he got it back, and then snatches that bitch right away from Cody immediately. And now Cody has to go on another arc. Like fuck. I had to fight all this time to
Or
I'm okay with that.
or
Okay with that.
or Drew
I
could
was
win
one of
Money
the
in the
people that
Bank.
said that
Oh,
I
no.
would like to see Drew take the title from Cody. It probably ain't gonna happen
Or-
now, but
Or Drew can win Money in the Bank and cash in on Jey Uso.
and that could work too.
Works for me
That could
too.
work too.
I don't
Be honest,
see
do
Jay
you
winning,
want Jey
holding the
Uso
title
to
for
go
long.
through
I
that
really
pain again?
don't.
Hold at least some Money in the Bank.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I think that's actually
yes.
perfect,
I think he
Yes.
will,
You
but,
want
I
Jay
mean, it's
Uso
not-
to go
it's
through
not
that
out of the
pain
question.
again?
Yes. Yes.
I don't
He knows
know,
what he
bro.
did.
You know what he did.
It was straight 8 months of Jey Uso, Jey Uso.
Jey Uso.
Every time he heard his name, bro, blank face. Are you serious?
Fun fact: Devontae Adams just went to the Rams too.
Yeah, he just
Yeah,
yo,
overpay for 2 years, man.
that
Ooh.
shit is trash, bro. He not the same, bro. People gotta let it
To
go.
the Rams is crazy. But anyway, I mean, but to Nate's point though, I mean, if he cashed in on Jay, I feel like Cody or Jay would be. They're all good options. You know, if he wants to take it from Cody, like, can you imagine how people are gonna feel? Like the little kids if they see Cena Cody win the title back and then Drew just takes it right up this immediately. Nah, give me that shit. Right afterwards. And Drew's also one of the very few people who's only beaten Cody since he come back to WWE as well.
Yeah,
That plays to the story. But Jey Uso with the bloodline stuff too. I mean, listen, Drew, he takes it from Jey too.
I want Jey Uso to get body.
If there was a time, honestly, if Drew were to win Money in the Bank back to back, I honestly wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't be mad at it.
And he can hang that. He can put that in CM
I
Punk's face.
wouldn't either.
That's a good
But if
one.
you want to really step,
Uh-oh.
You on mute, something, bro, or connection? Might like that.
Oh, he froze.
Could be a way for Drew to start redeeming his
Pardon
old
me.
losses as well too. He lost Money in the Bank. He can
Yeah.
start redeeming that.
And
then
like
back up.
Nate said, that, you know what I'm saying? Only person that went
Oh,
back to
okay,
back
that's
into
good.
CM Punk, 2 years, and can rub that in CM Punk's face. Like, I did what you did, like it all kind of adds up there. Like, I feel like to go to Lewis's point, that's
seen
been
the
my
video.
biggest issue with Drew is that over the last 5 years, he's been the guy that's had to help put over so many other champions to try to solidify their championship reigns. Bobby Lashley, Big E, Roman Reigns, Gunther, Seth Rollins, he's had to, even Damian Priest, like he's had to put over so many of these other champions. It's like, when is he going to get his due? Because 2020 was supposed to be his year, and he had a good year, but the pandemic happened, and he never got to have that run in front of an audience. We never really got to see what that would have been like for him. Ever since that got messed up, he's never been able to get his due diligence on that. So I feel like, it's just, it is frustrating to look at a little bit when it's like Drew has so much potential to really go up from class B to class A as far as being like their main event guy, but they're like having him elevate other people that they want to put in that position. It's like, bro, y'all could have Drew right there too. Like, you don't have to elevate everybody, man. Like,
This is why, like before the heel turn with John Cena, that's why I wanted Drew to be in that spot, because I wanted this storyline to propel somebody else. But now, I mean, in hindsight, I guess, but I think Drew would have been perfect for that situation.
yeah, I feel like Drew needs that to kind of, I don't want to say crack the glass ceiling, but he would need something like that now to really kind of put him in the higher echelon, because if the pandemic never happened, we don't know what would have happened with his career. I mean, it could have, he still had a good career, but it really could have put him up here instead of kind of like right here. And he's always been close to gunning up here, but he's had to put over so many other people over the last so many years. It kind of becomes like, okay, we get Drew is good at putting others over, but when's he going to get his due diligence, man? When's Drew going to get his flowers? When's he going to get the reign in front of the audience that he still hasn't had? Even when he had it, they took it from him immediately. So when is he going to get it? You know, like what are we waiting for here? Like, I get there were other champions in that time frame. You had Roman Reigns in there, you had Seth in there. Okay, I get some of that other stuff, but it's like eventually this guy deserves his due diligence, man. I want to see this guy get the respect and the credit that he should be getting. You know, he deserves that run.
I agree.
So I don't know what's gonna happen with Drew. I mean, Drew and Priest, it's fine. I don't hate it. As long as Drew, I think Drew should win though, for sure. I think he needs to win. Like,
yeah.
That's the match he needs to win. Damian can take the loss, and I think he'll still be fine. But I feel like Drew needs that win. So hopefully he'll be able to get that win and then move on to something new or good for him. King of the Ring could be great for him. However they want to do it. I mean, that's fine. So, so what we talked about? Okay, is LA Knight's gonna be in a multi-man match? What about Braun in the IC title? Is that just going to be a multi-man match too? Or?
Well, now I was going to say that too, but like now they're teasing AJ and Logan. So I don't know if that's like its own match, and then Braun has his own, because they're teasing Braun and Finn for whatever reason.
Finn Balor?
I don't know why. Like both of them are technically heel. I mean, Braun is kind of
How many times do we have to be here, man?
I honestly
How many times we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
I would much rather just see like Drew and Sheamus than just give Sheamus the IC title, bro. I mean, Drew and Braun and Sheamus give Drew the IC title.
Just do it.
Honestly,
unless you want to throw Finn in that match for him to take the pin, so Sheamus
I
can
just
get
want to
him.
see. I just want to see Braun sell his soul. That's it, man. I just want to see him sell his soul.
Oh, you want them to join the Rock and see? Oh my lord!
I want Braun and the Prophets to join the Rock. I need them to sell their souls, man.
No, I don't know about that.
I will say though, with Finn, I'm tired of talking about the old fuck, by the way. But I will say, I'm not saying I want this to happen, but I have been seeing that they are teasing to build him back up again. Not reports, but from what I'm seeing on TV, they've had the demon in the background multiple times, multiple occasions. They're gonna try to do something. Don't shoot me. I don't want this shit. But they're gonna
just to get Concerto again. It's crazy.
Who's that?
It's gonna come back just to get Concerto that demon. He gonna come back just for that.
Who's that new Judgment Day member that they're teasing?
Probably Aleister Black.
It's probably the demon.
Aleister Black. No.
Black would work, right?
Personally, I would just end the Judgment Day.
Oh God, bro!
It's over,
I would put like Theory or Waller in there. Maybe they would fit with like the Carlito vibe. Judgment Day isn't what it was. The spooky stuff.
Theory would be funny. Yeah.
I mean, they have been teasing another member.
Yeah.
Aleister Black, because of his gimmick. I don't want to see that for him.
I don't think it's the spooky lane anymore.
Well,
I don't either.
Well, for Aleister Black, I'd like to see him wrestle first, because in AEW, I barely saw that motherfucker wrestle, and I watch AEW all the time. So get him.
Speaking of which, Revolution about to cook tonight. That card is
AEW cooks with the pay-per-views. They cook. They know how to put on a good pay-per-view.
every time.
They know how to put on a good pay-per-view. I like the aspect of Logan Paul and AJ Styles, though. I think that's the correct match to have. That's the one I want to see.
Logan Paul and Judgment Day.
Yeah, I don't want to see that either.
I kind of like it, actually.
Jesus.
You definitely want the Profits to sell. So
you had some super chats.
Yeah, I got him saved. Somebody said they want the Profits to sell their soul. The Street Profits. I don't know, man. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
If The Rock ends up as champion, it would ruin WWE's cooking. Cena needs to win at Mania to make the heel turn worth it. I agree.
Yeah, that's pretty much my reasoning.
Spending some money as I do with my groceries. Love the content. Appreciate the support. Random Guy Speaks.
That's
Appreciate
crazy.
the support, man. Appreciate the support. Thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for coming through. Last one. How much I gotta pay to get up here? Oh no, we do open mics, bro. We do an open mic. So whenever we do, you ain't gotta pay nothing, man. So whenever we do open mic episodes, just come through, man. We do open mics, so we allow the viewers and subscribers to come on and chat with us. So no cost, no charge, bro. We don't charge people to come on the show. So whatever, just be on the lookout for the open mic episodes. You'll see it a part of the name for the podcast. We usually put up the episodes ahead of time so people know and everything, like what we're going to be discussing and stuff. So I would say just look out for that, man. So let me see, Lewis.
Oh yeah.
No, man, like no. Ryan, before we head off here, we're gonna sign off. I want you to give me a WWE hot take that you have, man, that you can share with the pod. We ask everybody this.
Ooh, WWE hot take. Ooh. All right.
Something spicy, you know.
All right, Rhea Ripley, little deodorant in the Judgment Day. I don't think she's ready to cook on her own. I think she got maybe perhaps her the Judgment Day covered up some of her stink and flaws as a character, and maybe she's not ready to swim. As we kind of see, I don't know if they trust her ready to swim on her own yet, and perhaps this is a storyline just for her to maybe go out there and spread her wings, work out the quirks. I've seen some good in some of her stuff, and then some of the bad. Like you alluded to that 4-minute promo on the post Raw. I thought you said like the sentiment was good. She had good aspects, but then she had other aspects where she just didn't come across as like a strong performer. Like I thought like some of the second, like the weepy and all that stuff. I just think she didn't look like a main event star, really. I didn't really have sympathy for her. She just kind of took me out of it. So I'll just say the Judgment Day covered her up, and I'm not sure if she's ready for primetime yet. That's my hot take.
Okay. I think there are some people that on here that agree that have kind of said this kind of the same things a little bit. Like I said, I feel like the main thing that holds her back is the storytelling, is that one championship reign that could really submit her, because I feel like she has strong attributes in it and everything else. Really, it's just when you look at all-time greats that we're ranking, especially in the women's division, they all have a title reign. They all have stories that we can point out and look at that were really good that help make them stand out. Rhea just hasn't been able to have that, and even when she did have it, they messed it up. You know, with the Liv Morgan stuff. Like she had something in the beginning, and then it got messed up in the end. You know, so that's not a bad take. I think Rhea has potential though. It just
absolutely, I see the potential. That's why I was a little disappointed in like the reaction or whatever.
That comment. The WWE 12. Man, I love that storyline, bro.
The Road to WrestleMania storyline. Okay. Last thing I want to ask Ryan, so we did the top 10 today. Who's your top 5? Who's in your top 5 all time?
All time?
Yeah. WWE.
WWE, like favorites, just like my guys.
Your top, like who's the top 5 to you? Top 5. Who've had the top 5 greatest, the greatest WWE superstars? Top 5.
The Game, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Triple H. Those are the top 3. The Cerebral Assassin number 4, and
Hell no. Hell no.
Here go Nate. Nate.
Chilling. All right. I think the top 4, it's kind of, as we talked about earlier, it's hard to gain. But my top 5 is probably Austin, in no order: Austin, Hogan, Savage, Cena, and Michaels, with The Rock
Savage
on the cusp of coming in.
Hey, Savage, respect you, man. I love Savage. I ain't
Savage
that,
was
man.
just like The Rock to Austin to Hogan in a way too. Savage moved a lot of stories in the 80s and the 90s. Savage was a key part of the WWE, 100%, no doubt.
He didn't say Undertaker because Undertaker.
That's my favorite old head.
Undertaker tier of his own. That's why he didn't say him. You feel me?
Oh, that was
Undertaker's top 10. I just don't prefer him. You know, I just think
second greatest of all time.
Yeah.
second greatest,
Yeah, those would be considered. You know, I'd consider those the greatest
He was
from a
the number one for a
WWE
while.
aspect for sure.
No, yeah. That's not bad. All right. Thank you for coming through, man. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming, for watching. Make sure you guys sub to the pod. We'll be back next week, man. We got a lot more great things coming. As always, you know, we got to end it off right, man.
Yes,
We
sir.
do not allow any Omar slander on the
greatest of all
podcast.
time.
The greatest of all
Greatest of all
time.
time.
The real.
In a tier of his own. Oh man.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Bro patted the waves down too.
Chat, Nate